Kunezindlela zamasotsha zokuziphatha kahle, landela imithetho yonke ngendlela efanele. Kunezindlela zamasotsha zokuziphatha kahle, landela imithetho yonke ngendlela efanele. Ningathatheli abantu izinto zabo, celani izinto zonke enizidingayo. Khuluma ngokuzithoba nabantu bonke, ukuze bazizwisise indaba ze-BCM. Khokhela nokuthengwayo ngendlela efanele. Buyiselani izinto zonke nizithathe zitheni. Khokhela nokuthengwayo ngendlela efanele. Buyiselani izinto zonke nizithathe zitheni. Ningathatheli abantu izinto zabo, celani izinto zonke enizidingayo. Khuluma ngokuzithoba nabantu bonke, ukuze bazizwisise indaba ze-BCM. Empini enkululeko, musani okuphinga, batshani abathunjweyo ngendlela efanele. Empini enkululeko, musani okuphinga, batshani abathunjweyo ngendlela efanele. Ningathatheli abantu izinto zabo, celani izinto zonke enizidingayo. Khuluma ngokuzithoba nabantu bonke, ukuze bazizwisise indaba ze-BCM. Nawo amagama akhulunywe kudala, uyena mawuzethu njengoba esifundisa. Nawo amagama akhulunywe kudala, uyena mawuzethu njengoba esifundisa. Ningathatheli abantu izinto zabo, celani izinto zonke enizidingayo. Khuluma ngokuzithoba nabantu bonke, ukuze bazizwisise indaba ze-BCM.
Amandla.
Welcome back to the AZAPO online political education session. Today we are continuing with the discussion from the previous week, where we were looking at the exiled and its contribution to our struggle. Today's discussion topic is about the BCMA and the exiled BCMA and the armed struggle. You would recall that in the previous week, we spoke at length about the efforts of the BC movement in continuing with our struggle through the armed struggle. A lot of our BC comrades left the country and they regathered outside and consolidated all of their efforts into the establishment of the Black Consciousness Movement of Azania. Today, I am here with the generals of the Azanian National Liberation Army. I have General Pitso Hlasa, who is the current and the last general of the AZANLA forces. I have General George Biya, who was the second Commander General of the AZANLA forces. I also have Commander Mbulelo Ketye, who will be joining us shortly, and they will be taking us through, the life and times of our armed struggle whilst they were operating under the auspices of the Azanian National Liberation Army. Welcome, comrades, and it's good to have you this afternoon. If you can just unmute. Yeah.
Thank you, Comrade Ashe. Good afternoon, comrades.
It is a good afternoon indeed, and I just want us to, start with General Biya. The history of this movement in exile has always been about armed struggle. It has always been about ensuring that the war of liberation continues. And I want you to tell us about AZANLA and what it is, because I mean, throughout the years since Tiro left the country, his mission was about armed struggle. And ultimately, all of those efforts led to the establishment of AZANLA. And you were one of the generals of AZANLA, and perhaps you can tell us more about what AZANLA is.
Thank you, Comrade Ashe. Good morning, good afternoon to your listeners on this platform. Allow me from the onset to salute all the fighters who gave their all and up to and including their lives, and also tip my hat for the families who lost their sons, their daughters. To say as AZANLA, we say in our hearts and memories, they will always live. Well, the question you are putting, it's quite an involved. I must say, what is AZANLA? It's not an easy one, but I will give it a shot to the best of my ability. But given the time we have, I must declare up front that I have to explain and describe AZANLA at headline level. I can't go to the detail. The detail will take us quite ages to describe this mighty army of our people. Allow me to say that AZANLA, I will describe it as a people's army whose mandate derives from the people's organization, that is AZAPO external, which was called BCMA for obvious reasons, that we could not just call it AZAPO external without compromising the security of those of our comrades who are operating internal. What do I mean by saying AZANLA was a people's army? As a force, we were told that ours is a struggle of the people, by the people's organization, as the name of AZAPO says. We were told that we can't be experts that are going, or specialists that are going to liberate our people. Liberation is an act of the people themselves. There is no one who can liberate our people but themselves. And we were formed as an instrument for our people to free themselves from the system. That is the first and the most fundamental aspect of who AZANLA is, which it is the people's army, and we had to wage the struggle alongside and together with our people. Without our people, the people's army would not just operate. Well, going a step further into who is AZANLA. AZANLA, if I would just dip a bit into its content, I would say that it is an army that was built around 3 pillars. I will describe it as a political, productive, and fighting force. Those are the 3 pillars. What did we mean when we said AZANLA is a political army? We meant, first and foremost, it existed to pursue the political mandate and the political objectives of Black people in our country, which under the banner of AZAPO. And we were, as an army, told that politics comes foremost. No one in our army could join BCMA before going through an intense political program, which was aimed at orientating every recruit and make them to be cadres that would understand what our struggle is about. Hence, before you join, it was a prerequisite that you would go through a probation period, which was no less than 3 months, coupled with the political orientation that will qualify you to join AZANLA. If you did not crack it in the eyes of our commissars on the probation and orientation, you would not qualify to join AZANLA. We sought to produce a cadre of the highest political caliber because we felt the need to be led by politics in our military endeavors. So as an army, we knew that the huge percentage of our responsibility was political. And then the second aspect of our army was that of a productive army. What do I mean by productive army? We had to also, in the spirit of Black consciousness, embrace one of the key basic tenets, that of self-reliance, where we had to generate our own resources for our survival. I see that on the platform I'm with Comrade Hlasa, who is one of those who, like me, went through, was sent by the organization to Botswana Agricultural College, where we acquired some skills around poultry, horticulture, pig husbandry, to be able to pursue our self-reliant projects. We had other self-reliant projects where we were running taxis between Nata and Francistown for our upkeep. Of course, as a People's Army, I see I'm in the panel with Comrade Mbulelo, who was also responsible for assisting us in acquiring resources for our well-being inside the country. They will also share. But when we say we were a productive army, one must hasten to say that we were able, against all odds, because we had very little external support, to produce our own food to produce and make ends meet for our upkeep and the pursuance of our progress on our own under the leadership, the political leadership of the able and the capable BCMA leadership. I'm not going to throw names, but we know Bundate Mangena, Bundate Hokong, Bundate Muzau, and many others. Why we had to take that productive self-reliant route, it's because the doors of international support were half open to us. So we had to rely heavily on ourselves and our people inside the country. Hence I said we are a people's army. We were also a fighting force, and because of limited external support, our strategic and tactical approach was largely focused on acquiring the hardware that we were going to use, the tools of trade in armed struggle from within the country, and by all means available. So we made sure that even in our training, we train our people with arms and ammunition that were available inside the country. That is, well, we also had another aspect of our lives as AZANLA, which had a strong cultural emphasis, because we had also to know who we are as a people, and we would engage in intense cultural discussions and debates, and also venture into the artistic aspects, which we used for mobilization. I remember we had a structure called Bayembini Cultural Group, which was initially established by the likes of Dumagandro, who is a well-known cultural activist, famous for his Uzalo and other Umuvango stories on our television screen. We also had other cultural groups that in Zimbabwe that was called Anti-Colonial Unit, which also pursued the same objectives of mobilization and popularizing our struggle. Both groups would go perform in various institutions. I remember the days when my NPP cultural group would go to University of Botswana, and the anti-colonial unit will go to University of Zimbabwe and other platforms just to spread the message. But what is more, the cultural aspects had to help us to understand the ways of our people and who we are, and who we want to be in a liberated Azania. Briefly, that's how I would describe AZANLA. That it indeed was a people's army, very political, productive, cultural, and fighting force.
Now, thanks for that description, Comrade General Biya. But I'd like to, just take the conversation further. Last week, the Commander-in-Chief, Comrade Mangena, told us that it was not easy to establish AZANLA, and when it was possible, they made a breakthrough that enabled Comrade Kutso Mutsau and Hlomane Mabasa to go and obtain training in Eritrea. And they came back and they set up this army. And I believe you are among the first group of cadres of the movement who got to be sent to Libya for your own training. Can you just give us a bit of a synoptic overview of how you got to be a member of AZANLA and your training a little bit?
Yeah. What a question. I was unfortunate that one of my sisters around 1976 got shot and amputated in the leg, Comrade Pindima Vuso, and we grew closer, and that drew me to the organization that is AZAPO of today, and her influence on me led me to join AZASIM, and as an activist in AZASIM, there came a time around 85 when the BCMA made that call to say the black youth must come to swell the ranks of AZANLA in their millions. When that call was made on the new message by the Commander-in-Chief of AZANLA forces, I was one of those, together with the late Comrade Stembiso Mhlungu, Uchamagandaba, and Mando Linda, who went to exile. And when we arrived, we were taken through the processes that I described earlier of accommodation, orientation, and finally we joined the movement outside the country and later AZANLA. When we were there, we just saw Comrade Abasa disappearing. And we tried to ask, where has he gone? And we were told, hey, on the basis of need to know, you don't ask those questions. And then when they came back with Comrade Mutsau, they started a program which sought to really pull together AZANLA forces. Their program was largely around recruitment and training. And I think they did a good job. They started with recruitment. They came inside the country, recruited quite a number of comrades, and the approach was not to bring large numbers outside the country, but to facilitate training, and where possible inside the country. They established training bases inside the country, like Qwaqwa. You'll get more details, I think, from General Hlasa, who was part of the recruits then, who went through Qwaqwa. He will give you more this thing, but our emphasis on in training, especially internally, was quite loud because we of the resources that we felt were not in our favor. Outside, some of the comrades came to join us in response to the call, and then we also joined as a part of instructors and so forth. And then around 1986, the political leadership, through the diplomatic offensive that they had embarked on, made a breakthrough where we could send a platoon to Libya, and I was part of those, together with the late former president of AZASIN, Comrade Kabelo Lingane, the then deputy president of AZASIN, the late Comrade Polisile Miyaka, and many more, Eugene Zabanga. We went there for military training, and we went through infantry course, which was designed and aligned along the guerrilla warfare. We then, on completion of our training, we came back. When we came back, that platoon was then dismantled through deployment. The huge bulk of that platoon was deployed inside the country to come and do both political and military work, but most importantly, to also help to set up the internal network, because we understood that ours was a people's war. I was one of those who were deployed back to Botswana to go enhance training and other programs there. It was around 1987, I think, when we came back from Libya. When I arrived there, I found quite a number of comrades in the camps, and wow, with the unit that I had, we were then assigned to the responsibility of training, both physical training and military science, which we did. And as we're going on with the program, one could also sense that the organization or the institution AZANLA had successfully gone through its formative stages. As you know, organizational development dynamics, it was now taking to the next step of storming. And as we were going through that storming phase, the political leadership came and reconfigured the leadership of AZANLA. That's when I became the general of AZANLA. And when I took over, the focus and the thrust was, let's go to fight. We thought we had sufficient basis. We've done sufficiently, and General Mabasa has done quite a good job on the training and building part of it. We had to go to the next phase, and the next phase was that of going to fight. And then my operational order and marching order was to take the forces into the front line. And then together with our chief of map reading, others they call them topographer. I don't, that vocab is not ours. We use map reading, Comrade Naftal Mwashin. We went to the mountains in Botswana, studied the terrain thoroughly, and identified base camps that we would use. Of course, we were doing this along the borderlines, where we did not only study and established the base camps on the Botswana side, but we were also studying the terrain and the movement of the enemy inside the country. And then after some time, we went back to say now we can bring our comrades, and then we then mobilized the resources. We went to deploy the supplies in those base camps, and we then started the deployment of our cadres into the mountains. We went there with our cadres and started studying the movements of the enemy. We would watch some military bases of the Botswana Defense Force on their Skelpad base, next to Skelpad border gate. We would watch them, their movements in and out, and study them. And we also went around studying some of the potential targets, and also the movements of the patrols along the border. We knew exactly when, whilst we were busy with that, the enemy forces detected our presence in the Botswana border area. And they did not only alert the Botswana authority, who were acting without their consent and knowledge, they pressured them into going to root us out of the mountains. And at the time, if I remember well, the general in charge of the Botswana Defense Force was the immediate past president of Botswana, General E.M. Khama. He deployed both the ground and air force to come root us out of their mountains. Fortunately for us, as we were able to pick them up before they could reach us. I was going with Comrade Thandeka for contact and for purposes of supplies to Lobart when we spotted the Botswana Defense Force, and we had to play what we were taught to do. We had to play lovey-dovey there until they passed us, and then after that they said, hey comrade, let us use our alternate route to go alert our comrades that we are in danger. And because we mastered terrain, we were able to use our alternative route to back to the base and alert our comrades that, hey, there's a ground force, we believe it's coming for us. And then we started to prepare ourselves to withdraw, and we were able to withdraw. We were able to camouflage ourselves first, because we could not just, we had to zero our movement and make sure that the Air Force with its helicopters who were hovering above our heads don't detect our presence there when we had mastered the art of camouflage. Well, it is in the nature, I believe, of every guerrilla army. And then at sunset, we were able to pick up our stuff, and we started withdrawing, and we withdrew successfully to another base camp, which was quite far from where we were. And when they followed up yesterday, we could only see and hear the noise of their helicopters from a far distance. You know, they are still searching for us. And we systematically withdrew our members back to the refugee camp in Dukwe.
Yeah.
Well, on one's arrival, we found that the Special Support Group, SSG, was ready and waiting for our appearance, and they came, nabbed us, and we were arrested. Together, Labor, Comrade Pusnoya, Comrade Wayne, Steve Mukabela, and the rest of the group, but they released the rest, and only these 4 was kept, and we were told we were undesirable elements in Botswana, we are no longer needed there, and we were given options to say we can go to Canada, Kenya, or USA. We objected to say, no, that's too far. We can't go to those countries. It's too far from where the revolution and the armed struggle is supposed to happen. And then the commander-in-chief of AZANLA came, engaged us with the Botswana Council for Refugees and United Nations, and they negotiated with Zimbabwe. And we were, I think 6 months later, released to Zimbabwe. And, well, from prisoners to what, you know, when we were released, the handcuffs and manacles were only removed when we were entering the flight. You know, it was just quite a drama, but some of our comrades from Namibia had picked up that that was our day when we will be thrown out of the country, and they came to encourage us. They were there at the airport shouting slogans to people who were handcuffed. Pachi Ngarikotoki. Well, Pachi Ngarikotoki, it's a Namibian language, which is Amandla Awetu, and that boosted our morale in our manacles. And then we were thrown into a flight where every passenger was dominantly white, with only a few, if not 2 black faces other than us. And they were looking at these criminals or these animals off to Zimbabwe. And when we landed in Zimbabwe, we were then confronted by another situation where some gentlemen in some black suits and tinted dark glasses came. Hey, comrades, come this way. And who are you? Well, where do you want to take us? And we were trying to resist. And, you know, comrades, come this way, comrades. So, no. And then they realized, hey, no, here there will be resistance. And they pointed out up to the balcony, and then we saw the commander-in-chief of AZANLA, Azania. He was waving to us, and we waved. And the way we were taken, if we were resisting, we were being whisked out through the VIP section, and our passports, which strangely carried the stamp, not of immigration from Botswana, but the office of the president. And then there we were with the patriots from Zimbabwe who drove us together with Mangena to the headquarters of BCMA, and we found ourselves now being people again, free,
very comfortable.
prisoners, and well, there was no time to rest or waste. Shortly after our arrival, we had to engage in our own plans to say, hey, how do we go about pursuing our military program? We started, we noted that no, somewhat our numbers have been depleted. We had to conduct some training And then we started the program to recruit for training. I see Comrade Mbulelo was one part of the group of the recruits at the time, and Comrade Pitso Hlasa, who we recruited with many others to go to Libya, and theirs was a bit of a different program. We went for infantry laced with guerrilla warfare. They went for commando training laced and designed along the lines of guerrilla warfare. After that program, after their deployment to Libya, we remained and started planning that we must go back to Botswana, of course, without their permission and knowledge, the knowledge of the authorities in Botswana. We went back to prepare so that when they came back, they must find us ready to go engage. We planned everything, how they will be deployed, who will be deployed where. And we then went back to the mountains, and when they came, some were deployed internally, like Comrade Mbulelo Ketye here, Comrade Hlasa, and other comrades came to join us on the mountains. We had to create very fluid bases. And when we were there, we started to say, now we want to engage and start hitting the enemy. We identified not very far from the borders of Botswana, and one of the projects that was funded, agricultural project that was funded by the Israeli government. We thought that these projects are working against the objectives and this thing. The objectives of our struggle, you know how Israel is. We felt that's going to be our first target. And we went for that operation, and we were able to carry out our operation seamlessly in the Zulufelo agricultural project, and we came out with some of the resources that we thought will be helpful. But you know, operating at night can be a plus, but also a minus, because we picked up some cars to facilitate our movement, and the Botswana Defense Force could easily, those cars put us in the skyline, and BDF easily detected us, and we landed in an ambush, which we quickly turned into a skirmish or a battle. I'm happy to say we emerged from that skirmish unscathed, with no casualties, and we left some casualties on their part, who I met later when I got arrested when they were coming for identification parade, and then much later when I saw the other casualties who were on wheelchairs, others without arms and so forth, from that fateful night. After that mission, we decided, no, we must go for a bigger mission. I went with Comrade Mkoseli for a mission to go and reconnoiter the railway line, which we felt we needed to blow and break the link between Botswana and South Africa. Unfortunately, we also landed in an ambush, which we quickly turned into another battle. That's where we lost Comrade Tuseli, and that's where I got arrested and sentenced to 13 years. Well, it's getting a bit emotional. Can I ask?
Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. Let's leave it there. We understand that this has emotions in all of it. And maybe I should go to, Commander Ketye and General Hlasa, because you did indicate to us that, as soon as you came back, from your own training, and you saw a lot of recruits, and amongst them were, these two comrades, Ketye and Hlasa, who came in for their own training. And I'd like to maybe start with Commander Ketye, and just to get a glimpse of his involvement in the army, and how he got to be recruited into the army. Maybe you can just take us through your own introduction into the army, as well as up to your training to Libya. Let's start with you, Comrade Ketye.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Simpiwe. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I'm not sure if there's anybody else connected next to you there who is interfering.
Checking if there's an echo here.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo, no, unless there's another connection there in the background. We should.
There's nothing here with me.
Okay, now you're good. Go for it.
Can you hear me properly now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you, Comrade Simpiwe. Well, my introduction into AZANLA started through AZASM. There was a National Congress of AZASM held in Hammanskraal, early 1986, and I attended the Congress. At the Congress, the branch, which was called Medunsa branch, it was a strong branch of very active comrades, who most of them are now in the medical profession. Comrade Opampe, Comrade Victor Dlamini, and Comrade Modise. They sponsored, during the session of Congress, they sponsored a discussion in what they called the new dimension. And this discussion was led by Medunsa. Effectively, what they were asking AZASM to do was that AZASM, it was time for AZASM to make a direct contact with the exiled BCMA. And their argument was there isn't much information flowing down to AZASM at the time from the mother body AZAPO, because the mother body AZAPO had contacts. It was known by comrades in AZASM that the mother body AZAPO has contacts with the exiled BCMA. And when AZASM members or leadership do some inquiry, it was not very easy to obtain information. So Medunsa came with this argument of what they call the new dimension, that the leadership of AZASM must make a direct contact. So at the end of the Congress, a resolution was adopted that AZASM, the new incoming leadership of AZASI will make a direct contact to the BCMA. Now this follows because in 1985, the BCMA sent into the country literature and calendar. And the theme of that calendar was come, swell the ranks of AZANLA. So AZASI in a way was responding to the call to swell the ranks of AZANLA. At the end of Congress, new leadership was elected. That leadership then mandated the vice president, high school, Kolisile Mnyaka, and the late comrade Brista Kalaute to go and convey this resolution of AZASI to the exiled BCMA. When the Congress ended, I was preparing myself to leave back to Port Elizabeth. Then I was approached by Comrade Kolisile and Comrade Brista that I must remain. I need to help them. Apparently, both of them couldn't drive at the time. So they told me that with the car, I must drive them over, if it's possible, towards the border in Botswana. Ultimately, it was me and Kolisile who left for Botswana. Comrade Brista had to withdraw due to some family developments. So we went to Botswana, myself and Comrade Kolisile Mnyaka, and we arrived at Botswana, Pasha, and we were welcomed by Comrade Jeras Mpuseng and Comrade Skap Mtsam. I informed them, Comrade Mtsam, that the mandate is carried by Kolisile. It is Kolisile who's the elected official of AZASI. I am not the elected official. I am accompanying Kolisile. So the meeting took place between Kolisile and the leadership of the BCMA. I excluded myself. After some end of hour, about 2 hours later, the meeting ended. And we were expecting that we will be going back to Johannesburg the next day. Me and Kolisile, that's our plan. But in the evening, we were told, now your trip has been delayed by a few days. We remained behind. Few days later again, Kolisile Mnyaka was called and then he was told, you will not be going back to Johannesburg because there is a trip to Libya of comrades who are to undergo the military training, as Comrade Biya said earlier on. The only one who's going back is Mbulelo. Why not? Because you are carrying the message that you need a direct contact and you want training, you will be the first to be trained. So Kolisile was taken and he remained. I left 2 days later back to Port Elizabeth. But the message was, please be ready. We will keep the contact between us and you. And I agreed. Almost a month later, there was an advice office there in Port Elizabeth. We used to go and work in that advice office. There was a call there. I was called and I was asked that one comrade from that area is required to travel to Botswana. Just one, they said. And it must be a comrade, well-disciplined, proper, politically, and understands the organization. Oh, so I realized, hey, this thing is starting now. Then I spoke to one comrade who I thought will not give or ask too many questions. And I told him that there is a request for one. And in my opinion or in my view, I think you fit this request and this description. Would you be willing to take the trip? And the comrade agreed. And that comrade was Zitembele Stumane, the son of the late Songwe. So Stembele went, and he came back almost after a month. I don't know what he was coming to do, because it had nothing to do with me. And later on, about another month, Stembele apparently was preparing to go back with another comrade. Unfortunately, they were caught in a car accident, and Stembele passed on, and the other comrade was injured in that accident. So the other comrade could not reach Botswana now, and I don't know what happened after that. So this was my first activity with AZANLA, as you asked. Secondly, later on, there was another request for a group of comrades, which I must also check along the lines of discipline, politics, understanding, and everything. And I spoke to comrades. It was Ntoseli, it was Ian Mashikana, it was Master Malambile, and Siga. The comrades left for Botswana, and they arrived safely, I was told. So between now 87, 88, 89, this has been my contact with the exiled BCMA or AZANLA. I also received literature from the BCMA. They posted literature to the post box of the advice office. I don't know where they got that address, because they never asked me for that address. But they posted literature and calendars, which I was distributing, and lots of pamphlets. And one of those was the famous pamphlet of the BCMA. This is the BCMA. So I was doing this distribution to comrades and so on. Then in 1989, at home now in the afternoon, I got a call. I was called at home that there is a call. They defined it as a funny call. They said there's a funny call. I said, what is a funny call? The funny call was somebody is calling and they're saying he wants to speak to Mbulelo. And when we ask, who are you? The person says, Mfana Kathixo. Now at Kaya, when you speak like that, you remember my home is an Adventist. So when you speak like that, it's almost off the line. But he says, he insists, Mfana Kathixo. So I went to answer Mfana Kathixo, who also I didn't know who he is. And Mfana Kathixo says, comrade, Mfana Kathixo, you have to do the following. It's about 3 p.m. now. Between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., you have to raise 10 names. And around 4:30, I'll call again. I need those names, 10 of them. You have to do this fast. Please go and look for 10 names and come back by 4:30, I'll call. Mfana Kathixo. But I then pick up the voice. It looks like somebody I know, but I can't put the name yet. So I went out as instructed by Mfana Kathixo to go and look for 10 names in a very short space of time, a very difficult project to do. Some of those contacted could not avail themselves of family issues and other things. At the end, there were only 2 names. When Mfana Kathixo phoned, I said there are only 2 names I could raise. And he says, who? And then I asked, he says, what about you? I said, you said I must raise 10 names. Did you say me? He said, no, you're part of the 10. So I handed over my name, and then I was told by 5:30, I will get another call again. And indeed, I got the call. Now, I didn't know that voice. the voice, the person who phoned gave me the instruction now, the route we are going to take, the three of us, what we are going to do, what to collect where, and until we reach the place where we're going. I did that. Then I had to go out now quickly because it was said by 8 o'clock you must be at point B, point A, with the other two. So I go out now and go and tell the towers, yeah, comrade, we are leaving now. Just take your small matter bag. No, not big things, because we're under impression we'll come back soon. Take your things and let's go. So indeed, by 8 o'clock, we were where we're supposed to be, and the movement started. So that movement landed us in Harare. One evening, very late in one evening, we landed in Harare. There we come, we fire, we see, before we were taken inside the house, because it was already dark, there were soldiers and tents outside with some guns. We didn't understand, we were new here. We were told outside, they said, listen, your name is so-and-so now, from now, going forward, your name. You remember that name, yes. You are so-and-so, you are so-and-so. Those other names don't work here. So we were taken inside. We went inside, we were introduced. Now we must introduce ourselves with the new names. Now the funny thing is that some of the people who are introducing ourselves with the new names, they know our proper names, but they accept, and they also introduce themselves with the names we don't know. So then we realized, oh, this is the procedure. So we had new names. They also have two names. So we were in Harare. And the next day, we joined the activities of comrades in Harare. Those activities, they began at 4 a.m. There was one comrade with not a good height, but he's got a good height when he wakes up people, because he takes the blanket and throw it away. And we must wake up now, we go for what they call production. That's what George calls. We were hearing that for the first time there. We go out, do production. And this production is a lot of work. It's cabbages, carrots, it's what we do that until 6 a.m. And then we come back for the breakfast and so on. And then we follow all the other programs that were happening there. Political discussion, issues of armed struggle, military science, and later on we are in physical training, and later on we are shown first by a graphical presentation of different arms and so on, and later on you see one or two of the arms you are told and how they operate. So we stayed in Harare, undergoing this training for a period of about 2 or 3 months. Then one very early hours of the morning, ungodly hours again, we were woken up as a group now. We were joined by Comrade Jaftaje, the general, and others. We were taken out. It turned out we were on our way now to Libya. We arrived in Libya, I think after 2 weeks, because there's a place where we were stuck for almost a week because of this air connectivity. We need a flight that goes our direction. So it's going to come after days. So we had to wait. We waited there in Libya, in that country. And in that 5 days, the comrades finished the whole gross of that place where we were sleeping, the budget of months. Those comrades just finished it. But a week later, we left for Libya. And we arrived in Libya in the afternoon. Very, very hot, extremely hot place. We thought Botswana is hot. No, Libya was hot. And many of us had our nice little afros with shiny hair. Some comrades had Crockett and Jones and Barker and all sort of nice trousers and so on. As we were handed over to the people who are accepting us in the camp, the guy had no interest in the guy who's handing us over. He has interest in the people who are arriving. He's starting to talk in Arabic, we didn't even hear. You just put your bags down, we put our bags down. There we were on the floor in the sand and rolling that way and that way. And we joined with our Crockett and Jones and Knights and so on. We joined the afternoon road work that was taking place. That was our introduction in Libya. When we came back, it was already supper there. The next day, we were given some kind of uniform and boots and other things for purpose of training. So we were in Libya. We trained there, firstly, a kind of infantry training, mainly drill, some arms and self-defense and all those things. It took us about 3 months. It turned out they were preparing us for the great march that was to happen on the 20th of September that year, because it was a celebration and anniversary of the country. After that, when we came back, when we finished that part, then the commando course started for a full 6 months. We came back from Libya, back to Harare. We stayed there. We didn't know what was going to happen to us. We were waiting for direction and instruction from the leadership. I was called aside after 2 weeks or a week. Then I was told, no, you are going to Johannesburg, and comrade so-and-so will be picking you up, and everything is with him. That's the comrade who will take care of you. And here are the numbers of the comrade: the telephone number, his house, and the telephone number of his office, and this is his name. So I took this just for your little smile, the comrade who took me to the transport, because of this activity that, you see, we must not be seen because we operate under strict guidance and rules, because we're not necessarily recognized by OAU and so on. So the comrade put me in the wrong transport. Instead of going that way, I went the other side. It was by around 10 in the evening, I realized this is taking too long. I should have arrived in Plumtree by now, and I'm not in Plumtree. So when I checked with somebody next to me, it turned out that the train was going towards Mozambique. So I had to offload myself from the train and wait in the station, small little station, very dark, alone, and I don't know who's going to attack me here, and I was scared that what if Renamo operates around this area? I remained there until 6 a.m. when I caught the train back to Harare and rejoined the correct train towards the Plumtree. On arriving in Plumtree, I went out to Botswana, and I took a transport towards Lobatse, Gaborone, to Mafeking. Then when I arrived in Mafeking, I took a transport to Johannesburg. I arrived in Johannesburg around 4 or 5 in an afternoon. Then I went to the telephone booth to look for the comrade. I phoned the number, the office number. It was ringing and ringing and ringing. I phoned the office number, it rang and rang. Then I thought, maybe it's at home. I phoned the home. I said, no, it's not ringing. I mean, it's not picking. I'll phone later. I phoned later. That process took about 5 days now. I was in the park station and lost here. The comrade is not picking up. Ultimately, I landed in the hands of Sandile, Comrade Sandile Duasa in Dobsonville. That's where I found my my place, organized by Comrade Sandile Duasa. Now I was in this one house alone. There was absolutely nothing, no chair, no tiles, nothing. Only things that looks like curtains, and I sleep here. For purpose of food, I walk towards Comrade Duasa's home to go and eat there. Then I will come back and sleep. He gave me a small bed, Comrade Duasa, to sleep. I sleep. Tomorrow morning, I wake up, I go to him again, and so on. Then Comrade Dan Habedi came into the picture also. Before he was still working as a teacher. Would wake up very early in the morning, he comes and knock and bring me some food, and in the evening. So my food comes between Comrade Duasa and Dan Habedi. Then I was fine. So I stayed alone there. Now I must start understanding what is happening here. So preparing myself for the task that will be coming the other side. The branch of AZAPO, there was a strong branch those days. It was called the Dobsonville branch, a very, very, very strong branch. They had programs, they had educational programs, they had political programs every Sunday at 9 to 12. So I joined. Shortly, about a month or so later, they were having their annual AGM. Now I attended the AGM as an observer because I knew I know nobody. Strangely, I was elected vice chairperson of the branch, and when I left, I don't even know you. I can't even speak the language. I was forced into the position. So I became the chairperson, became like him and Ahutla, I became the chairperson. So I got to be active now. There are comrades there because now I must attend these things. I got relationship with some comrades of there. I began to know this one stays there, this one is so and so, this one is so and so. Whilst I was in that process and that project of understanding the place, then I saw one of the comrades I had seen in Harare and in Libya. So, oh, this tower is here. His name was Opa Mutsikwa. He had come, apparently stays not far from where I was. But Comrade Opa Mutsikwa didn't last a month. One morning we wake up, we hear that Comrade Opa Mutsikwa was shot dead while walking home. That caused a little bit of stir to all of us there. Then I had to be very careful now because I don't understand this. Because the tower has just arrived, it doesn't finish a month. Walking home around 7, 8 p.m. in the evening, he got shot, he's dead. We had a funeral. We buried Comrade Opa in a very emotional funeral. His mother was crying. I stayed in my place. There was one comrade from that area, Dobsonville, who developed a tendency to visit me, come and talk and midnight. So I developed a friendship with him. Oh, that's how. But also, it was working for me because when he comes on Sunday, he brings fish and chips and Coke and so on. So it's a little bit nice, this company. And he was taking me around to see the place. I know it. Then later on, one day, I wasn't there. When I come back late in the evening, around 8, 9, somebody knocked. I go and open a chair. Huh? It was Tabang Mutludi's Cobra. And I thought, how did he know that I stay here? The last time I saw him was in Harare, but here he is here. Down, and then we were just excited, talking to each other. It's nice. Then he told me another funny story. He says he's been waiting for me since around 4 p.m. I think he came there around 4 p.m. He didn't find me. He waited and waited and walked away. He comes back, he waits again, doesn't find me. Third time he was doing this, an old lady in the opposite house came into the gate and talked to him. Dumelang tate, liga nka o thusa. Now Cobra was not comfortable with that because he doesn't know the mother, he doesn't know the environment. But he went to the old lady. He said, no, Meula says to Cobra, which it was very funny for him, also funny for me. The old lady says to Cobra, oh, Tate wakamo, utsuga useng, utsamaya eli, utsori beke nyane, ukutla busiu. So wena, kikupa ukene kamo and wait for him. Cobra didn't do that. He says, I'm coming back, Mama, and he walked away. Turned out he stayed, he didn't even know where Dan Habidi was staying at the time. He stayed somewhere in the field until he found me, and then he told me the story. So this story rattles us, both of us. She says, Utsamaya was saying. It means she's observing. She's looking at us here. But then I said to Cobra, but it's months I've been here. Nothing has happened. It's possible that it's an innocent observation. So we slept with the belief and understanding it's an possible observation. And indeed, nothing happened. Cobra woke up and left and disappeared. So Cobra kept on coming and going and coming and going. Then one time Cobra came again. He slept. He woke up early and he left. When I woke up, now he does not have a place to sleep here because there's only the bed, we can't sleep being two here. So he had to sleep on the floor. So when I woke up, Cobra is gone. And my bag of clothes, the only thing I have here, is gone. All my clothes are inside, are outside. He just threw them here. So this comrade left with the bag. So I stayed. I can't. Where will I get him? Days later, Cobra came back. Now he was with another comrade, Mfadam Dal, with that bag of mine, full of things that Cobra says I mustn't go nearer to my bag, so I can't go nearer to my bed. And he's traveling with Mfadam Dal. In the evening when we were about to sleep, so he didn't, that house was a 3-bedroom house. So when he used to come, he used to sleep on the floor and the next, but that day he didn't sleep on the room, he slept on the corridor, and Mfadam Dala was sleeping not far from the door. When I asked what, and then Cobra says, no, just in case you are in trouble. If anything happens, he tells me, if anything happens, whoever tries his luck is going to vie with us here. So what do you mean? And he shows me something. He says, you see the apple? So he showed me his apple. He says, this apple will defend us. I said, I don't have the apple, so you don't have to. This apple will defend us. And then I'm checking now. This fellow is saying he's going to do something funny here. It's going to affect me. So when I'm sleeping there in my bed, I'm checking my bag. I've got an interest in my bag. But they woke up very early in the morning. They left with that bag. They disappeared. Then suddenly, Comrade Jafta appears also in my house. Also, I don't know where he got the address, but he came. We wanted to see his old friend there, the late Comrade Ketye and others. He was active with his own things. I keep quiet. He goes out and in and out of this place, in and out of this place. One day, weeks later, myself and Comrade Habib at his house, not far from me, we were watching the 7:30 news. And there we saw that there's been an attack in an installation on the N1 towards Polokwane or Pietersburg then. And SAPA claims that somebody from Azania had claimed responsibility. So we're watching this with Comrade Habib. So, oh, Azania had done that. Days later, I had a telephone call, a landline there in my house. Days later, Cobra phoned that landline and he says, I would like to see you in 48 hours. Please don't go away. I think because of that other experience of not finding me, he's now making an arrangement. So I waited for him, but Cobra never came. Again, on the news, we hear that Cobra has passed on in the battle at the church with security forces, SANDF, the police, Lebua police, with Comrade Malach. I went to attend the funeral of Comrade Cobra in Kronstadt, despite the advice by Comrade Scap, don't attend the funeral. I said, no, I have to attend this one because it was really emotional. So I went to attend the funeral. Then later on, Comrade Monks and Kumbulan also pitched up the same house. Now, with theirs was better because they had a message, and the message was that I must give them a place to stay temporarily. I must look for that, which I did. And then I must go and collect a ration for them somewhere, and I give them, and I get out of them. And I did exactly that. Then I was told there is a second ration for them, which I must collect. But now I must give it to them. They must come and collect it to me because they must now leave to a different place, which I don't know and I must know. And I did that. Later on, the Secretary for Internal Affairs of the BCMA phoned my number. And he asked me, can you help me look for Umongameli, Monks? You must bring him to the phone. I need to talk to him. I said, hey, I don't know where they will get him now because the place where I was told to organize for them, they've since moved, but I'll go and look for him. So I look for him, I can't find him. A whole day, I can't find him. I also try and ask few comrades, no, nobody knows. In the evening, the Secretary for Internal Affairs of the BCMA phones, and he says, have you got Monks? No, I don't have. I don't know where he is. No, please, you must look for Monks. So the next day, I go and look for Monks. I can't find Monks. I tell the Secretary for Internal Affairs. The next day, third day, now the Secretary for Internal Affairs is getting agitated that Monks must be found. Now it's a very difficult thing to look for a mobile comrade like Monks because Monks is mobile. So I try and look for Monks. But that evening, after he had dropped, before the next day where I was going to look for him, Comrade Sean Rapidze appeared in my place. And Comrade Sean was coming to look for us. I said, Tower, have you seen Monks? He said, no, man, I'm looking for Tower. Have you seen Monks? Because now I am insisting on Monks, I'm not answering. So he ran away, gets out of the. When I follow him, he jumped the fence because the gate was locked in anyway. He jumped the fence, and there was a car in. Comrade Sean was gone. So I don't know. I slept. I'm preparing myself to go and look for Monks. 6:05 that morning, Comrade Thabo Ndabeni phones, and he says, Tao, do not move until after 8 or 9. Stay in your place because there is an incident that happened. I will come back to you. I will phone you or I will pass your place, but don't get out of your place. So I pack. Now I'm worried. What is the incident? So I wait in my place for the call or the physical appearance of Thabo Ndabeni. Around 8:30 in the morning, Thabo Ndabeni phones. He's phoning from a public phone at Baragwanath Hospital. He says, I am on my way somewhere, but I need to tell you, Comrade Monks has passed on. Oh. Now I'm caught now because I need to speak to the Secretary for Internal Affairs.
Mm.
I asked one good comrade of ours who was connecting all of us from Harare to New Zealand to Mozambique to where, completely gone. Moya, I called him. He called me back, and I called him. I said, "Tao, can you connect me, Kai?" He connected me. I asked for the Secretary for Internal Affairs, and I said, Comrade Mongs has passed on. I don't have the details. I heard from Thabo Ndabeni this morning. He phoned here to say there's an incident. When he phoned for the second time, he says, Monks has passed on. So I don't have the details. Comrade Strike Tugone says, listen, tomorrow, between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m., you must go at that other spot that you normally go to, where you drop that Monks and Kumblane or Pitso. You must be there, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Don't miss the time. I am having a heart problem here of monks, and I am told I must be at that place 6 p.m. the next day.
Mm.
I went to look for a transport because that requires a transport. I had seen a transport parked in one of the comrades' place. I thought this transport is not working because this comrade always drives this other car to work and so on. Maybe this one is available. So I went there. I said, can I borrow your car? There's a place where I need to go. And I expected him to ask me questions. He asked me no question. From the wall, he took the key and he gave me. But he said, but this car must be back this evening because tomorrow morning, every morning, it takes my children to school. And I kept quiet. I said, oh, because I think this is not possible. I can't say to him, but I kept quiet. I took the car, I drove. And I went to another comrade of ours, and I got the car filled up with petrol and another money. And I drove to that place of 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. I waited there. Nobody was coming out. I go and check, nobody's out. I had parked the car in the village. I walked to that place to go and check the Secretary for Internal Affairs. I only know him. So I thought I'm going to see him. He doesn't come out. I go back. I check. I go back. No, man. Now, in terms of rules, I'm supposed to leave him now because it would appear he's not coming. I slept over in the village. The next early hours of the morning, I went back, and there, the Secretary for Internal Affairs, Comrade Strike Tugwane, and the Chief in Command of AZANLA, Comrade Mangena, and Comrade Betwell, and Tovu, and Comrade Zwandile Kondile came out. I went with them to the next to the village. I went to fetch the car, and we drove out. We met a roadblock as we passed a township called, I think, Velvedach. We came into a roadblock. But I had a nice arrangement to avoid this because I knew I'm carrying a luggage that can compromise all of us. So I had a shirt and a collar for being a pastor. So I was a pastor driving this car. And I had a little Bible, which I put here on the dashboard. And I had a cassette of King Messenger's quartet, which was playing. So at the roadblock, they say I must be the one who's talking. And I realized I can't speak the local language. So I said in English, no, I'm a pastor and I was running a night vigil here. We're just going home to wash and we'll come back for the funeral. And the soldiers of Botswana says, and we passed. So I drove all the way towards Johannesburg, straight into Leondale, into the place where I got the car. And I knocked and my heart was a little bit beating because I had I had not performed the instruction of the owner of the camp. That was Comrade Matata Sedu. I expected him to be angry, but instead, because behind me, there was Comrade Mangen, there was Comrade Matata Sedu with hugging and laughing, and the two were just another connection. And that saved me from Comrade Matata's anger. And I left them there. On coming back to Dobsonville, the branch of Dobsonville had a meeting and had taken a decision that I must go back to Port Elizabeth to tell the family monks that he has passed on. And I went to Port Elizabeth to tell the mother. Incidentally, I didn't tell you, Simpiwe. I will be rounding up. I didn't tell you. I had taken monks home on his insistence, and crying and wanting to see his mother. Even when we say you cannot do that, none of us has seen our relatives. Why special about it? But the comrade wanted to see his mother, whom he did not see for almost 7 years. And Thabo Ndabini, who I was working with, fortunately was called to Port Elizabeth to go and run training for an NGO. And Thabo tells me, then I said to Thabo, there is this problem. And Thabo says, we work out something. So we work out something and we took monks. And there was a reunion of an hour with the family. And we took him back. When we come back to Johannesburg, he rejoined Kumbula. Now I am driving in less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks back to tell the same family that I brought monks here that he has passed on. On arriving at that home, with my heart beating and my tears just about to drop, and I'm holding on because they shouldn't, because I mustn't be the one who do that to make them well. I tell the mother and the father what happened. The old lady stood up and raised the clenched fist inside their house and shouted, "Viva, Comrade Mongameli, viva! Viva!" And then she says, "Amanda!" And she says to me, "No, my son, Ufele Edabi, like a soldier, he was. I was the only one now in this family crying. This old man and this mother is not crying, but that gave me strength." The funeral of the monks was prepared and we buried monks. As I close, so that I must give Comrade Jafta a chance. Then another comrade came back into the country, and myself, Comrade Mfano Mdala, Cobra, we were with Mbulelo Ketye and German guys in the Western Cape. We are on a mobilization and recruiting program in the country. And the Cobra program is Free State, the then Eastern Transvaal, because there was no Mpumalanga, Eastern Transvaal, and the Northern Transvaal. Mfano Mdala is doing the KwaZulu area and Gauteng. I am Gauteng, I'm in the Eastern Cape and partly Western Cape with Germany and so on. So there is a growing activity and an interest and a desire to join AZANLA here. So we're processing people to go and join for training. I must say here, because of Transvaal's proximity to the borders, the other Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Free State, and Natal don't have access. So the comrades from all these areas must come here to go to Botswana or Zimbabwe. That influx causes problems for us because we don't have the necessary accommodation and facility for them. But comrades in Gauteng here, or Transvaal then, Southern Transvaal, provided their houses as transit camps. It's worth noting and mentioning that Monwabi Siduna in Soweto, Edlamini, his house almost became a permanent transit camp. All comrades are dropped there and processed there for 2 weeks or so on, and then they are delivered to the other side. The house in Shawelo of Comrade Laibon Mabasa also became a transit camp. The house of Victor Lamini, Dr. Victor Lamini in Pinoni became a transit camp in Dobsonville, Habedi, and Dors, because there is a growing interest in AZANLA coming here. Azayo, led by Tamim Tsehwa at the time, was fueling this growth of Azayo members and Azasi members into AZANLA with this slogan. Everywhere he was going, was all over the country, addressing meetings, and everywhere where he addresses, he says, Azayo by day, AZANLA by night. Azayo by day, AZANLA by night. So it creates the interest. So we had this big influx into Gauteng that we must take out. Lots of comrades here provided the logistics, their transport, their money, and their houses. And one comrade from Exile pitched up with Mfana Mdala. We decide, instead of pushing so many that side, this town must do the training. And Mfana Mdala brings the program of the BCM, AZANLA military training, and organizes and modernizes it. And the tower is spoken to, given to. The first place he went to was the border area, the East London, King Williamstown, Port Alfred, and Grahamstown. The comrades stayed there for a month, did a perfect job of training comrades. And there was a mood developing for the armed struggle in that area. He went to Port Elizabeth for a unique dispatch. He trained. There was a mood developing for that. There were two other areas identified for a similar thing. Towards the Plettenberg Bay, a space, a very nice place was identified, and towards the Wild Coast in the Transkei, Port St. John's, and all those areas. This tower was going to do that. And we were creating the connection between the activity of comrades in Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, and we want to create them and connect them to Plettenberg Bay and connect them to the Wild Coast, so that we create this belt of the activities of AZANLA. But we were disturbed. We had to suspend the program a little bit because the comrades in Eastern Cape, because now also what we call them, the big fish or the big guys, were also in the country. They are the ones who normally do the actual command. Comrade Jafta, Comrade Kumbulane, Mounts, and others. So we suspect it's them who caused problems for us, our program there, because suddenly in the Eastern Cape, there were incidents that happening. I think the people were testing their skills and strength. There were 3 to 4 incidents that happened that raised the alarm of the security establishment. We had to pause to avoid too much danger. When Comrades Kap and Jafta were arrested in Botswana, in Botswana at the time, when they came, they phoned me. I don't know how they heard about that program, but they phoned me and they asked me, they want a car, they want to go to the Eastern Cape. I had the instruction from Kaya that you must go Kaya. They say, no, we're not going there, we're going to the Eastern Cape. So I organized the transport, they went to the Eastern Cape, they went to inspect that activity in the Eastern Cape. Only after did they go back home. That was my program in the AZANLA.
So that was your program.
I could took more, but I'm out of time.
No, it's fine. I think let's give an opportunity to General Hlasa just to talk to us about the AZANLA operations that he led when he was the general of AZANLA, and I'm sure he's gonna tell us a bit of a story about how he got into the Kwakwa base of AZANLA. General Hlasa.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Ashe. These towers can talk. They spoke 2 hours, both of them. Yeah, thank you. No, as comrade, I will just add to what the other comrades have said. But maybe it is important that I start about my journey into joining AZANLA. Mina and other comrades, we were arrested. Jefferson Lengani, Ikaneng Nani, Nkolisi Thandakubona, Motlana Mpureng. We were arrested with the activities of the organization inside the country. And when we were released, I remember we were attending court at Johannesburg Magistrate Court. It was transferred there. It was initially at Protea Magistrate Court, but it was later transferred to Court 8 in Johannesburg. When we were released on bail, we went to the office of AZAPO. It was at, I think, third floor in Lecton House in Wandra Street. When you got there, we found Comrade Seth, Comrade Muntu, Comrade Lion. I'm not too sure whether it was Pamela in Tlogo or Rusiwa in Tlogo, but they were there. And it was just our first day from prison. We have been in prison, and I think we stayed for about a month awaiting trial or so until we got bail. I think the attorney, it was Krishna Idu or something like that. And then the comrade said to us, "Oh, you guys, you must vaikaya," meaning that you must go to exile. You must go and join the movement outside, because of the chances are that the Boers are going to convict us. We are going to be convicted of the charges that we were facing. And I responded. I was the first one to respond. I said, "No, I'm not going there. Not going to exile. Why? Why should we go there?" Said, "No, because of, Comrade Labon was there." He said, "You are going to be wasted, you guys. Trust me, you are not going to win this case. You are going to be wasted, and the system is going to convict you." We refused. The other guys followed suit when I refused, say, "No, they are not going," blah, 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 things like that. But as time goes on, the organization, I think it was a discussion at some level to say, "No, these guys, they must go. Like it or not." And we were persuaded many a times, including, I think, Comrade Denabede at the time was the Transvaal president of AZAPO. Because of his proximity, was teaching in Orlando East. Every time when he comes from school, he will come. And because of, we interacted with students at Orlando High, the late Comrade Kwaito, Comrade Thabo Matlala, Comrade Myth Kaile, Comrade Matlaila. So most of the time you find me at Orlando High. So he will talk to me and say, "Yeah, you must go." I didn't. Eventually, one Sunday morning around, or even Comrade Thabo Ndabeni tried, but he failed. One Sunday morning around 10 o'clock, the LBX, there was a car called LBX. the Master Sports of Comrade Labon came and parked there by my car. It was Comrade Labon and the late Comrade Sam CM. Now, the approach of Comrade Sam CM was different from all the other approaches. It was an instruction. He did not negotiate with me. He said, "Yeah, I'm going to Muru. When I come back here, I find you here. We are leaving today at 3 o'clock. We are leaving. And if I find you here, you're going to be in trouble, in danger. I'm not asking you anything. Prepare, you must take 2 trousers, 2 t-shirts. You go, you are going." Apparently did the same with the others. And then exactly 3 o'clock, a white Mazda Sedia Mitsubishi came, parked at my car. It was Comrade Thabo Ndabeni. Oh, okay. Comrade Thabo Ndabeni took me, then we go and fetch Thabo. We don't find Thabo. We go fetch Kadi is Scotland. He said, "No, I'm not going to exile. I'm the only one who's looking after my Gogo there. Now, if I go, my sisters are very young." So then he was forced, because of he agreed there on. He said, "Okay, wait for me, I'm coming." Then he's Scotland, he did not come. Went to Mletsani, we got Jefferson Lengani. Before Mletsani, we got Speedo. Speedo is Mkudi Thandakubona, and then we got Jefferson Lengani. I realizing that, because we did not know where we were going, then Thabo said, "You are going to be late because you must board a train of 6 o'clock. Yeah, where to Bethlehem? Okay. Then we write, Park station, Comrade Thabo bought tickets, gave us money. Then he then described to us to say, You are going to board the train to Chimistin. To Chimistin, you get into a train that is going to Bethlehem. From Bethlehem, you will jump off the train, you get into the bus. From the train, you are taking a bus that is going to Sitin. That's where you get your contact. You guys, there's a bus stop there. This bus stop, there's the one in the middle. You must sit there, right there. Don't move, don't do anything. The fellow who's coming for you will find you there. Hey, no, this is danger. No, we fight. We left, and then indeed the train arrived in Bethlehem the following morning at 6 o'clock. It traveled the whole night. We got into the bus to a place where we were told to go. Indeed, around 8 o'clock, we were there at the bus stop. Suddenly, this comrade comes. I don't know him. None of us knew the comrade. It was Comrade Mando. Hey, comrades, how are you? Hey, no. Oh, okay, fine. Hey, how did you know us? No, it's immaterial. It's still early. I'll come and pick you up at 6 o'clock. Just find something to do here in town. But don't get arrested. Hey, this way, he vies. He leaves us there. Hey, then you are in trouble, yeah? Then Chef said, no, man, here we're in Kwak, man. I'm related to the TK Mupedis. So let's go and see the other Mupedi. Not the Prime Minister, the other one, the small one. Yeah. Oh, no, we fight. Get into the bus, we go with Jeff Legani. We go to Mupedi's house. Oh, no, that was a nice place. Yeah, then they gave us water, we bathed, they gave us food, we ate. Yeah, no, Jeff is Jeff. He won't stop. So they brought head office door. He was drinking there. And I was not drinking. I was worried and scared to say, where am I going? And you must understand, when we left for exile, this must be very clear. People must know this. Tina in Orlando East, we had camps. And already, I was already driving. And I also knew how to use weapons. So because of the conflict which was there in the country at the time. So when we got to Mupedi's place, I think around 4:30, they drove us to Sitin. And then that was a secret between ourselves. We did not tell anybody that we were at TK Mupedi's place. The Mupedi's place, the other one, the brother. Mando came at 6. We got into a bus. We got into a bus, I don't know to where. I don't even remember that place. Then we jump off from the bus. Then we got into a buggy. Now this buggy was full of material. There's rafters, there's gas stove, there's water and everything. Hey! And I don't know what's happening here. Now we drove with the buggy. We drove in a gravel road, I think around 10 in the evening, we arrived at the place. Now, when this buggy arrives, it did this funny thing, started flicking the lights, stopped, hazard, then it drove, then it came back, hazard. Hey, what is happening with this buggy? Shortly after it does those things, some people come up from the bush. Decide, hey, oh, here the guys, hey, no, these are comrades. Ow. Oh, okay, I recognize one comrade. No, this comrade, I know him. Hey, what is happening? No, they say we must take out all the stuff that is in the buggy. Now we must carry the stuff from the buggy. Hey, we are four, myself, Jeff, Spiro, and Motlana, and Mando, the fifth one. And then comrade came. I think that comrade was Kenny Malele. He came with other 3 comrades. I remember it was Comrade Rocky, the other one. I don't remember the third one. So we carried those things into the mountain. We walked from where the bucket dropped us off into the mountain. I think we got there around just before 1 a.m. from 10:10. So it was a good 2 hours walk or 2.5 hours walk or something. And we were tired. The Speedo at the time had bullet wounds on his spinal cord. The bullet, I think a bullet lodged there between the bones in his spinal cord. So he can't carry heavily. So we were carrying very heavily. Then we arrived there, it was at night, and then in the morning, I started to see comrades. Most of the comrades I see there, they've passed through Orlando. Comrade Neville, Comrade Louis, and the others. These fellows, they were with us in the camp. So they're here now. Oh, okay. Then the other comrade that has disappeared for some time, which we did not know, it's comrade Tenjueli. She's there. Hey, hold on. This time she's here. hey. I asked her, hey, why did you tell me that you have? He said, no, it was not necessary. Oh, okay, fine, you leave there. So, but then I realized that the environment, the environment is not good today. No. I say, yeah, I'm not staying here. I'm not staying. I asked them, comrade man, they say, who's in charge here? He's showing me Wapapa. I say, yes, Wapapa is the commander there. I go to this old man, they say, old man, Mina, I'm not staying here. Mina, I want you to, because this is Azania, you're the commander, right? Give me levels. I want levels, I'm taking levels into the country. We are going to fight in the country. I'm not going to stay here in this bush. Then said, no, they started to try to explain to me, no, Papa, things are not done like that. No, sit down, we'll explain to you. I said, oh, okay, fine, I will sit down. But then instead of sitting down, then I'm helping to build this base. The comrades have dug the mountain, you know, they've dug the mountain about 1.5 meters, let me put it like that, 1.5 meters down. So now we are putting these rafters and we are putting these planks across and some plastic and we are putting soil on top. Putting soil on top, when we were just halfway to finish, then this base just fell inside. Wow! Big noise. Wow! Hey, now what is the problem now? We have to start afresh. Now we must remove all those things, remove the soil and everything. Then that pushed me to say, no, man, I don't belong here. The comrade's cap. Oh, it was Wapapa. I didn't even know that is cap. It's comrade Wapapa. I mean, I want to go home. Then I was insisting. Then later in the evening, that evening, comrade Chef Lingani and comrade Motana and comrade this thing disappeared. In the following morning, they are not there. Where are these towers? These are my friends, but I came with them. No, they are not here. Hey, I tried to check and check. Nobody's telling me anything. I asked this old man, hey, where are my friends? We are four when you came. Nobody's answering me. Now then I got agitated. They said, oh, this one. Kenny, bring him. And comrade Def, they started tying with ropes now. Hey, they tied with ropes. Because that was creating havoc now. I want to go now. So they tied me with rope. I think I was on those ropes for a good 3 days because of even when I eat, somebody will come and feed me and water. You must remember that you are drinking water 3 times a day and it's half a cup. It's half a cup. You've got a cup in the morning, you've got half a cup in the afternoon, you've got half a cup in the evening. But if you like, you can keep that cup and take your 1.5 cup at once. So after some time, then this lady comrade comes and speaks to me. Say, however, you are disorderly. Behave. These are not. This is how these people there. They have a way of doing things. You cannot come here and dictate to them what to do. It's not so way true here. You came here and they told they're going to join us. And she tried to speak sense to me, but eventually I agreed because of that. And she was nice with me, trying to convince me. Then I got convinced. In the end, but then what surprised me, comrade, I did not tell you, when we were on our way there, we were told to change our names. My name was Tisetso. Tisetso is the name that I got when we were there in Kwankwa, there at Mpedi's house. The kids were just playing, so I heard Tisetso, so it came to mind, oh, I'm Tisetso. I don't remember my comrades. Motlana was Neo. Speedo was, I don't know, I can't remember. So, yeah, fast forward, then fine, I accepted the condition, then we started with the training. But after about 2 weeks or so, because of I think every second day or every third day, we'll go and get some supplies. That's where I happened to know comrade Charlie Man. Because of he was the one who was bringing the supplies and stuff like that. But at the time, you know, you are a recruit, you know, you are not told anything, you just take instruction, you go, you fetch things, you come, nothing, you are not told anything, you do as you are told, that's all. No information. And that frustrated me, because of I wanted to know where I'm going, and they don't tell us. I got so frustrated, but then I adjusted. So it is important to know that I did my training inside the country, but before it can even finish, because of the basic training of AZANLA at the time, I think it was 6 weeks. Within a month, we had to withdraw because of, I was told that we were spotted, and comrade, I think it was Comrade Strike, which Comrade Strike, his name was Comrade Max, Comrade Wapapa, Comrade Kenny, and Comrade this thing, who were in the headquarters. Then during the day, we were told to prepare, and then in the evening, we'll be going. Now, we walked, I think, from 6 to 6 in the morning. We're carrying everything that you might think of, Tawa, the canvases, the gas cylinders, the stove, groceries, tin stuff, because of most of the food that we were carrying, it's tin stuff. They were very heavy, Tawa, very heavy, very heavy. I even remember the other comrade who was told to carry the milli. He had to take a razor and cut a hole there so that this milli can reduce weight on his shoulders. By the time we got that side, the milli was this small, Tower, and it has left a trail from where we came from until where we went. And my papa was very angry, but it was late. So then we were told to lie low there in that small torpy there, which we did around 5, 6. 2 kumbis came down. I think the other one was E20, the other one was these kumbis that we called coasters. They were 22-seaters. We drove. Still, we did not know where we were going. We are sitting in the bus car. It's fine. We left that place around 6, and then around, I think, 2 a.m., we are told now, listen, everybody listen. When we are stopped here, anywhere here, we tell the police that we are a football team. We are going to play soccer somewhere in a village called Ramatlabama. We are in Ramatlabama now. Yeah, I did not even know that Ramatlabama it's towards the border. I did not even know that. No. Okay, then understood. Then the buses, they drop us. Then we are put in the bush to relax there. So 2 of them, they go. They come back, they fetch us. We jump the fence. Yeah, when it jumped, I did not even know what is the border fence. I just saw pieces of fence, a fence there, a fence here. When you are outside, what do you know where you are? No, you don't know. You are in Botswana, and I'll say bye-bye to South Africa. Oh, no. Where's the border gate? But no, this is a border fence. Here, this is the no man's land. Okay, we got educated. Okay, fine. Then we got that side. Now we are in Botswana. I remember they hid us somewhere in the bush. Then there was this car coming to pick us up in trips and traps, 4, 3, 4, 3. And eventually, I think I was the last one. When I got to Gaborone, I did not go where the other comrades were. I don't know where were they. But I went to a house in Gaborone West. I see, okay, no, this lady Tower is there as well. Oh, okay. I asked her, where are the other comrades? She said she doesn't know. Hey, no, these people, they must tell us. They can't come and dump us here. They must tell us where are other comrades, because of we are about 30 or something, or even more. I can't remember very well because of it's about 35 years ago or something. Okay. Fast forward, then our training continued in Gaborone West. Myself and comrade Mbulelo, the late Senjuelio. We finished our program. We took oath. The program that started in the bush in South Africa. That's where I joined AZANLA. So after some time, after finishing our program, then I happened to know that there's another place in Gaborone called Pashali. So because now we used to visit, oh, okay, there's Pashali. That's where I met comrade Mboteng and comrade Unda and Tatemanya. Then there was a small fort there. It was called State Car. So that car. So when we go and buy the groceries, okay, sometimes you go there by Spar, we buy groceries, we come back. And you can't drive that car unless you're licensed. There's no way. The Comrade Jaras was very strict. There's no way. I knew how to drive, and that car to West, it was an automatic, and I was a driver, a good driver, but no, I was not allowed to drive that car. So it was proper for me to stay in Gaborone West. But eventually, Comrade Tenjiwe left. Then I was alone there, staying with Tati there and the wife and the kids. Oh, Tati Comrade Ntinyo Mundu. I've grown very close to Tati to a point that I took him like my father at that time. So eventually he told me, you are supposed to go to, so you are supposed to go to Pashal and must take a passport. You are going. Going where? No, they will explain to you. Oh, okay, fine. I went to Pashali, Comrade Charas was waiting for me. Then the process of passport began with my real name, Pitso Hlasa. Oh, I think first thing started by declaring. I think we went to police station and declare myself. I was giving a story. I don't even remember what was the story was. But after that, the second story was to take a passport. But apparently there was this movement that Comrade Ketye and General Biya are talking about of going to Libya. So my passport took long to come out, and they went, and I did not go. So soon after that, then I went to Dugwe. Oh, okay, good to Dugwe. I got to Dugwe. That's why I see all those comrades that I was asking about. Oh, they are here. Oh, okay, fine. No, it's fine. Then we had squads. They were staying in squads. Squad is in terms of AZANLA, it's 15 comrades. So they were a squad, and they've got names. Tiro, Bikom, Tudika Shezi, and something like that. Those were the names of the squads that were staying there. But then, the good thing about AZANLA Tower, AZANLA took the disadvantage and turned it into an advantage. That place, Duke Tower, it's not a nice place. If you can go there, you want to come back same day. It's not a nice place. It's a semi-desert, number one, and number two, it's isolated. It's bushes, and three, it is dark. There's no light there. The only light is at the clinic and the police station town. It's dark. You can't even see your finger when you do this town. So. And there were programs there in Duke. Then I think AZANLA took that as an advantage, because then we were able to run clandestine activities of training. I even remember at some point General Mabasa had to go and detonate a grenade because of the pin was no longer holding. So that grenade was now posing a danger to all of us. Then you had to take other comrades, they go and detonate it. But remember, when we were all there, all of us were trained now. Then there were daily programs, so your production, we started with the training. In the morning, we'll run 4 kilometers. In the afternoon, we'll run 8 kilometers. And when we come back, it's the production. After production, it's a train. The train will come in. The train, it's time to eat. Now we'll go and eat our breakfast, and then we'll go to classes. There are classes for political commissars, classes for commanders, and classes for everybody. Then during the day, we have classes of map reading, because it was important. I think our comrades must know this. Map reading was very key for AZANLA. Very key. It was important. And at that time, I did not understand the emphasis. I only understood it later why. We will be told about the stars. You see, when you come there, they teach you about the stars. We say, I'm not here to be taught stars. Just like at school when you were taught about the locust. But there, it has a purpose. Because the stars, the Southern Cross and the Northern Stars, the Northern Star, you can't see it when you're in the South. You'll only see it when you're in North Africa, that side of Capricorn. And here you will see the Southern Stars. And then we come at night and do practicals. You see the Southern Stars like a cross, like a kite kind of. And when you want to go south, this is what you do. And they will take you to south. Well, irrespective of where, but you will eventually get to south and you'll find yourself in South Africa. So we knew all those things, and we knew how to calculate distance, even estimating distance, to say, oh, from here to there is 50 meters, from there to there it's 100. Like I said at the time, I did not know the importance of this, but I only knew later when we were doing weaponry to say now, well, Comrade General Biya has said there were weapons of choice that AZANLA deliberately chose to use because of we never had anybody who was supporting us with arms, and the anticipation was that we'll get arms in the country. The FN, Fabrique Nationale, which is the Belgium, made the rifle, and it was also good because of it also serves as a sniper's rifle because of its range, and the submachine gun Uzi, and then well the other pistols were Tokarov and Makarov. But some of us, when we came to Exile, we knew about the Z88 and the parabellums and stuff like that. So those were weapons that we were told that we will easily get when we get here back at home when we are deployed, and we won't be having a problem with ammunition and stuff like that. Unlike the AK, okay, we did AK, but there was not too much emphasis because of even if you can get an AK, where will you get the ammunition in the country at the time before 1994? I'm talking prior this dispensation because of there was no AKs. So fine, fast forward. Then like Comrade Biya said, there was production. And yeah, that's how I joined AZANLA. But then moving forward, after the 1988 regime change of the leadership, things started to be slow, and the organization tried to find something for us to do. And I was sent to school. There was an educational resource center there. I was one of the people who were there at the school. Well, Comrade General Biya has explained that when they came back from Libya, they found us there. We were already there when they came back with the Neville, the Carl, and others. But in 1989, when I was doing my O-levels, I think I was writing the mid-year exam. Comrade Franz Pali came to the school around 11 o'clock. I think I was still writing a paper. He knocked. And I was taught by an expatriate who was from, I think she was from Portugal or something, that woman. And she said, "Comrade, no, you can't come in here. We are writing here. The students are busy." He said, "No, it's important. I want to see that fellow." He says, "B." Ah, wow, you, yeah. But when I come out of the door, I say, "Comrade, I said, no. You have been recalled." Yeah? I've been recalled, yeah. Yo. There's a principle. BCM had principles. One of the principles was recall and active participation. Yeah, no, we are needed in Harare. Ow, Comrade Pan. You see, this thing can't wait. No, you must go and prepare because of Tamusa when he comes with the Gumbi, he's vying with you. Oh, okay, yeah. All right. But at the time, I already had that passport. So he gave me the passport, gave me the dispatch, then I fight. Then train in Francistown to Harare. When I got to Harare, somebody came and fetched me. That comrade, it was Comrade Eugene Zabala in the morning. So I go to Harare. Oh, when I go to Harare, no, I'm excited because I want to see my friends. I want to see Jefferson Lingani, and I want to see Kabelo Lingani. I want to see Nkolis. Because of, I already hear it now. You see, the longer you stay in the camp, some information it leaks. Somehow, you don't know how. I got it that door there in Harare. So when I got there, they were not there at number 4 Devon. Now, where are these fellows now? Okay, because I was taught not to ask, because of in AZANLA, you don't ask no questions, you should lies, because of the principle of need to know. So I guess there was no need for me to know at the time. So I stayed. Then I got into the office. Oh, okay. Comrade Mputse and Comrade Kunda, remember, they were expelled in 1987. I think they were in Harare as well. So that's where I found them. And Blaskap. Okay, fine. You must understand at the time, most of the leadership I know it because of they used to come. The central committee used to come to and stuff like that. So some of them I knew them from Pasha and stuff like that. So they were all there. Oh, okay, yeah, no. I completely took my passport. When I got there, he took my passport. I don't know where it went. He put it aside. Then the drill is the same. I don't ask questions. I don't ask people names, even if I know them. I must accept the names that they tell me. And there's sleeping times. There's current affairs. There's all the program. There's current affairs, there's political education and stuff like that, and I will be briefed. Later on, we briefed by Comrade Musao. I think at that time I was smoking. I remember I started smoking on the 31st of December 1976. So When Comrades Club called us to a dining room, I found other comrades. I don't remember, but I know Neville, Louis, Betwell, and Hoy were all there, telling us that we are going to do a commando training. That's an advanced training from what training we had. Yeah. And then he told us, no, don't worry about food, don't worry about cigarette. They will give you boxes of cigarette, blah, blah. But you are taking that cigarette at your own risk, because the program is going to be so intense to a point that cigarette might affect you in the process. I decided that day that I'm no longer smoking. Drop the cigarette. Then there was a program to say, there's a program here. It's important for you guys to join this program so that you prepare yourself physically, because condition there will be hostile. Okay, so we go work in the morning, coming back, doing exercises. You remember, these are soldiers. Okay, we were joined by other comrades, like Comrade Ketye said, who were coming straight from home, and they had to join and do whatever we're doing. Then the time came. Then we left, as he alluded to, Libya. I'm not going to touch the trip of the 2 weeks and whatever, but it's important to mention that the hotel we went to in Ghana, that's the hotel that we did the clean sweep of food. It was in Ghana and Accra, to a point that they were no longer doing buffet now, they were teaching for us because of refugees. No. They were eating all the food there. Okay, fine, we got to Libya. When we got to Libya, we did the training. When we started the first 3 months of our training, it was very intensive because of Libya was going to celebrate the 20th anniversary. You remember, it attained its independence on the 1st of September 1969. So this is 1989. So there was what they called 1 million soldier parade. I don't know whether we were 1 million or whatever, but we were a big number. And Comrade Ketye did not mention this. You see, in Libya, the sun, what do you call it? It says very late. Mali dikela, mali shona ne. Lishona around past 8. It's the only time that is becoming dark. So our program started at 4 a.m. to 10 in the evening. So basically we're training about 16 hours or so a day. At times to go up to 18 hours. On the 25th of December, 1989, I remember it was the whole 24 hours because of we wake up, we trained. We were punished the whole day. The following morning, when the captain of the camp came, said, we must start again another program for the day. So, yeah. So our program involved weaponry, which we did. We did Mortar 86. I think we did Mortar 86. We did not only do it theoretically, we disassembled it, we assembled it, we operated it. All of us had an opportunity to fire the Mortar 86, the general purpose machine gun, which is they called the Rashasha. All of us, we had that opportunity, the Kalashnikov and the RPG-7. And also, we had 3 different camps. We had the camp that we were doing, where we were a residence camp, where we were residing and doing the physical training, which was called Saba April. Not Saba April. Saba April, we're doing this thing. Watarabia. Mbulelo, you must remind me, man. It was called Watarabia, where we're staying. And the other camp, where we're doing every Wednesday, we're doing the obstacles. How? I'm talking obstacles here now. I think there were about 31 obstacles all in all. And when you go to around obstacle number 20, 21, 22, it was fire tower. You know, there was a wall that was built that you must run over it like this, and then you jump that side. That side, they were putting in fire tower. That fire, you feel the fire when you are going up town. Some people who were bent these eyelashes and everything on their way up top before you can even reach there. And when you jump, you can't jump properly, you will fall into the fire top. So you must make sure you come with the momentum so that when you fly to that side. After that, there's what do you call it? These obstacles, you crawl. So you'll crawl into a muddy area so that even if you have bend somehow, then that area, because of its wet, it's too much water and mud, so you can cool down, and then you stand up and run. So, but we had about 31 obstacles tower. There's a hall there that was called the hall of BCMA. That's where you find all comrades of BCMA stacked there. Yeah, so those were the weapons and the obstacles which we're doing every Wednesday, and we're doing the drill. We mastered the drill tower. We mastered the drill. We mastered the drill. There's a what you call, Mbulelo called it self-defense. That is unarmed combat. We did unarmed combat. We did bayonet fighting. Yeah, I think those were the things. And we're doing these things, but they were not part of the program, which was the first 3 months of the Libyan parade. We went into the parade come 1st April. We went to the parade. We were many. Libyans, they say it's a million parade, but I'm not too sure. But we were many. We were many because of we were the groups of hundreds, and you could not tell whether this one is from Trinidad or this one is from Sierra Leone or this one is from Niger or whatever, or Fatani or Moro, because of we had those close around us. We were like Arabs. But then here is the most important thing, Tower, that I want to do, because of we were advanced. We were very advanced, and in fact, that camp we had about 600 to 700 comrades from different countries, and the camp command, it was Comrade Stimela, who was our commander. He was in charge of that command, of that camp. And me, myself, Comrade Kumbulani, Comrade Harrison, and Comrade Louis were approached by Charles Taylor. We had a meeting with Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor requested us to assist his troops because of they came very late to catch up the Liberian troops. And they said to us, you must be very hard on them. And we were very hard on them. Those guys, not only those, including those of Sierra Leone. That fellow who later became the president of Sierra Leone, I forgot his name, it's Farah something. We assisted, we trained them. And now during our spare time, we will train them in the unarmed, by this thing, self-defense, and the drill and stuff like that, to catch up. And indeed, they catch up. But there was this one Wednesday where we went to Saba April camp, and there was a program of interrogation. You know, the Libyans, when they say it's interrogation, they interrogate you for real life. They say, they'll ask you, what do you want here? Where are you here? You can't say I'm in Libya. So, but at the same time, you can't say you're in Ghana. So whichever way, the answer is wrong. You're going to be beaten. And they were training us to prepare us for conditions when the enemy arrests you, the enemy will not play with you. We'll want to extract information to in the best way possible. So they were making us hard. And this Wednesday, when we came back to Saba April, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Everybody. It's like we were mourning somebody has died, because of the buses. We were so quiet because of the Liberians and the Sumatrans were so beaten, tower, in that interrogation. It was only us South Africans who were left for that interrogation, and we did it at the camp at Arabia. And what made matters worse, when you got to the camp, the first person they called for interrogation, it was Comrade Steve Mukabela, and Comrade Steve was the eldest. Now, the way in which he came out of that room, tower, sent shivers to everybody. We did not want to go there, said, no, we are not going there. We are not going there because of, he was moved, tower. He was moved. He was this short, tower. So I said, hey, I said, the comrades, whether we like it or not, let us go. Then we eventually went. But we were the best group. We were the best groups as South Africans there, because we were very determined, because we said, the comrades, we've got the duty to go and fight at home. So then, after those things, then we went for Mashroa. Mashroa, that's where we did the practicals. If you have seen the movie, The Lion of the Desert, there were those caves that Omar Mokhtar used to keep his troops there. We used those caves. We were there. But even before going there, we were told theoretically that don't take cover with any movable objects. That's during the training. Number two, when you hear the sound of fire, take cover, just try to check where is it coming from. Thirdly, make sure you go in groups. Those were some of the drills that Captain Joseph Pomba used to tell us. Joseph Pomba was from Zaire, which is, I think, it's the DRC. So, and he was the only one who was speaking English, and it's got French in it, so it was not fine, you know. So his English, you must struggle to hear, but there was an interpreter. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not there. So Mfano Tara used to say, "Uzayazi is Kumba is Arab," and indeed, it's Kumba. So all those things that we did theoretically, even dropping from the ocean, from the what do you call it, swimming pool, because we were dropping, I think it was about 25 meters high, dropping into the swimming pool, all those things, alighting the moving motor vehicle, the truck, we're putting those things into practice now when you go to Mashurua. So, and they give us a piece of paper. That's where now the map reading stood us in good state as AZANLA now, because of new map reading. So they will write a piece of paper, they'll give it direction. Now Louis was our master, so we'll give it to Louis, then Louis will interpret it, and then we'll follow, then you go. Then when you go to the next object, then you find an object, you leave the object, the other instructions, you go, until you get so tired, Tower. You get so tired, but this thing has helped us because of we're running marathon every day, 6 days a week. We're only off, 5 days. We're only off in Libya Friday and Saturday. We're doing nothing. Friday, you can't do anything. Saturday, we're doing washing. And then Sunday, it's a normal day. So we were running something like 40, 45 kilometers every day in a mountainous area, every day. And the way they treated us, the Arabs, the first 100 that will come to base will not be punished. The rest will be punished for coming late. Now imagine us 700, 800. So you must fight to be in the first 100. But I was fortunate because I was always in the first 10 now. First 10. And it let me put it like this. I was always number 3. Yeah, because I was one of the fittest. To a point that when you go to Mashurua, Comrade Voyo Ogop had some blisters under his on the feet. So I had to carry him, carry Comrade Voyo, carry his rucksack, and carry my rucksack. All the time, I was carrying him. Until to a point where Comrade Speech also complained about the same problem, and this his year, I think it was the dust, the scent affected it because of it. It had some pulse coming out of that year. So now I had 2 kids now because of other comrades, because of it was tough. They said, I can't. So I had to carry his rucksack and my rucksack, Vuyo's rucksack, and put Comrade Vuyo here. Until the night of the attack of the practicals. The night of the attack when we were sleeping there in those caves. These caves, there are 3 stairs downwards. I said to them, like comrades, we're tired now. Everybody wanted to sleep. When they found the place, everybody went underground, went to the last base to go and sleep. I said, no, that's danger. You can't do that. You don't know what's going to happen here. We're not sleeping here by the door. And indeed, I was right. Come, I think it was after 12, we hear the siren, the light, tweet. The next thing we hear the Rashasha, the GPM, go. Now we come out, the captain is shouting us, we must come, we must go to parade. Makasi, it's Amar. They must open the Amar, we must get the weapons, and we must fight back. Guy, wait. It was bad tower. So Comrade started to take cover. Comrade Speech, it's Comrade Vuyo, went to take a cover on a 210-liter tank. I saw him, I said, I remember that. Movable targets. I went, I fetched Comrade Vuyo, I took him by my shoulder. By the time we fly that side, that tank tower exploded. They set TNT on that tank tower. So it was real. There was fire everywhere. Then we started to scuttle, and then there were ambulance threatening us. Then in the morning we come back, we regrouped, and then we went to the valley. When we got to the valley, Before we got there, they took Comrade Louis, Comrade Vuyo from us, and I don't remember who. They took them to go and set booby traps there in the water, in that valley. They come back, they don't tell us they set booby traps there. When the practicals came of fire and maneuver, we go through that valley, tower. Now, I have never had such a firepower. Have you had such a firepower to a point of giving up? You say, no, let me die. It's okay. Yeah, the firepower was massive, massive, massive. Arabs were shooting at that. Fortunately enough, the one who was using the Rashasha, the GPMG, he had tracer bullets in his ammunition. So I could pick up the tracer bullet going that way. I said, oh no, that Rashasha is coming from there. It's going that way. No, relax, towers. Let's just take cover and we continue going. As we were going, the Congress, they were tripping the booby traps. Now these dummy grenades are inside the water. When they explode, the water comes up. It was something else. But then we managed, and we were instructed by Joseph Pumba to say, Chanopa Africa, come, number one. And hence I'm saying we in that group, we were the best group. But fast forward, we came back to Harare. I remember when I was asked by comrades, oh, before that, now the demoralizing factor. When we were in Libya, when we were about to come back, we got a visit from the commander-in-chief. He visited us, and the Libyans afforded us time and space. We went to that other side in the bush. We were sitting down there. Then he said to us, well, comrades, all your efforts have now gone in vain. There's nothing that you're going to do. There's already a process at home to have a negotiated settlement. So all this might not work. Tower. Yes, yeah, the morale went like this time. It did. So we are asking ourselves, now why are we doing this? So the commander says, well, as the organization, we are not part of that, and nothing will stop our programs, but we are going to have a more added pressure. Okay, fine. And then he left. That we started saying, but now morals were very low. But the highlight of that is the day when we were going back home, because we stayed for 11 months in Libya. We were eating rice, eating macaroni, eating chicken, eating oily food. And I remember when I got on, I didn't tell you something. On our way to Libya, I got arrested in a plane. I got arrested and I tried to draw the attention of Comrade Scap. He did this stuff. So when I got outside, the security forces of Nigeria, they asked me, who am I? I told them, I'm Pitso Hlasa. Where are you going? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what is that. I said, I'm going to school. To school there, I'm a South African. Where's your passport? So I gave them a passport. So I gave them that United Nations passport. Then they said, the refugee, let him go. Then they let me go. So and I bought the very same plane before it can even depart. So when we came back, as Comrade Ketye has alluded to, we got to Harare. Already it looks like there were plans because of there were comrades who were starting to move. We don't know, but we see the number shrinking. Then until my turn came to be deployed to the mountains, my unit, it was myself, Neville, is it Louis? I don't remember, but we were 5. I can't remember very well, but I think Neville was there and Louis. I don't know the other two. Were deployed to go to Botswana to occupy the mountains there and do the surveillance and look for possible targets. And as we bring in the information to the Military Affairs Committee, further instructions will be given. Oh, okay, fine. We left. So when we were there, little did I know that other units are in the mountain, that same mountain, but very far from each other. So because of I was commander now, you see now I'm elevated now, because we must understand I was a rank and file, now I'm a commander now, so I'm in charge. So now We stayed there. Oh, Khumbulani was part of my team. Yeah, Khumbulani was part of my team. So he was my deputy. So when we were there, and it was my first time in the mountains. You see, the other groups had an advantage because of some of them were in the mountains before 1987, 1986 or something. Me, it was for the first time. So when we were looking for a space there for what you call camps, and these people must understand in our language, when you talk about camps, we are talking about those places. That's where we stay. That's where we're training people there. So when we were there, and then I think let me mention this one first, comrade. I'm rushing. Before we left Harare, we said myself, Khumbulani, Harrison, and Louis, and Neville. We, with the help of other comrades, of course, who were coming from with us from Libya, we started interpreting what we were doing and then writing it in English, improving the training manual of AZANLA. We're improving the training manual of AZANLA because of the training change, and that even though the program of AZANLA was 6 months. We could do that 6 weeks. We could do that in 2 weeks' time, but then because of we were not the Makolobas, we couldn't. But we left it like that. When we were in the base, before we can even train people, we were doing that. Then we were recalled to another base. I think there was a base in outside. There was a base towards Ramatlamama, and ours was just in Khopan, inside the country. We were just 5 kilometers away from the no man's land, inside the country. Our base was inside the country, was not in Botswana, and not very far from Skelpatweg, to a point that you don't, at the times, you don't even need the binoculars to watch the movement of the defense, the Botswana Defense Force, because of we're nearer the base. There was a base there next to Skelpatweg, or Pioneer Gate of the Defense Force, to a point that we knew that area with like the palm of our hands, to a point that we will tell time with the activities of the area without looking at the watch. To say, oh no, that van must come now. It's 7 o'clock. Okay, no, they are at the parade now. It's 8 o'clock. It's dismissed. No, it's 8:30. You know, we could tell every activity there. Then we were recalled. No, we're not recalled. I called to join. I think it is General Biya who came. I don't remember, to say we must go and join another group in the mountains. So we went. Oh, there's another group here. Oh no, okay, fine. We were 10. Then little did we know again that the Military Affairs Committee, the headquarters, which comprises of General Biya, Comrade Nick Tuana, Comrade Nkoseli, Comrade Mongameli, and Comrade Steve Mkabela, they were also there. So then when we came there, we knew nothing. I came with my unit there. We joined the other unit of Obo Harrison and stuff. Then we were briefed that, no, and Wapapa is there now. Oh, okay, well, Comrade Scap is there. Then we were briefed, no, there's an operation that must take place in a farm in Botswana, the citrus farm. We did not get the details that Comrade Dwight has got, but we know that we're going there. The place has been surveyed, surveillance has been done. They will lead us to go in and come back. And indeed, it happened as he said. Then fast forward, then when we came back, then there was, because of that battle, that skirmish, then we were scattered, but we managed to regroup, and we went to, I think, to the base in next to Otse. That's where we stayed. Comrade Biya and his Military Affairs Committee disappeared again. Well, we were rattled for some time because of it. You don't know Comrade Scap. Where was Comrade Scap? And we were pushing Comrade Biya to tell us, where was Comrade Scap? You must tell us. But I think because of the pressure, eventually told us that Comrade Scap is safe. He has gone back to Gaborone. So, but the program is continuing. Fast forward, they went in the headquarters. Then they had that operation that day. Must go into the country, where he got arrested. And then Comrade, we learned that Comrade Nkoseli is no more. Comrade Nkoseli is no more. Shit, yeah, no. Now the morale was low. The morale was low, and we were recalled to Harare. We were recalled to Harare. And then we were pushed. 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 We were pushed I think we were recalled to Harare because of most of us went back to Harare. Then there were comrades that were coming from Kaya, from home, to train, and we started. There's a program we were running, and then I was sent home, myself and the other comrades, comrade from Africa. That visit did not last. We came. Let me bring this picture because it is important. Yabo Chamani. When we were there in the mountains, every day I spotted this car. That is Kabi. These guys are chopping wood and they chopping trees, putting them in the van. They go in the morning, they will come in the afternoon, and then they smoke. And they also smoke dacha, and we can smell. And I was not smoking at the time, but I told our logistics, say, give me cigarettes, give me 20. I cannot be a commander now of the unit. I'm telling them, even though they are not owning orders for this, but we were told mass mobilization and we're taught mass mobilization and conscientization. I said, Demon, we must find out this fellow. These fellows, where are they going? Where is the village, the nearest village here, and stuff like that. Then I'm going to see them. Kumlan was my deputy. He said, you are not going there. I said, no, I'm going there. I said, no, you're not going there. I said, no, Mamela Kumlan, I'm telling you, I'm not asking you now. I'm going there. And when I'm going to go with those guys. If 7 o'clock, because these guys, they come back 6 o'clock and then we see them. So if this track is not there, 7 o'clock, I'm not back, you must go. You must pack and go. Okay, fine. I went down and I met the guys. I opened my cigarette. I was not smoking, but I must find a way of getting through to these guys. I heard them, they were speaking Tswana. So I know that broken Tswana of Botswana. So, hey, they don't get matches. I don't. But they lied for me. So, yeah. So I started. I said, yeah, now I'm using Toropo. Oh, okay. Now we'll give you a lift. I don't mention the place. I don't know where is Toropo, but I'm saying that Toropo. So they understood. No, can I help you? Yeah, no, you can help us. We started chopping the trees. Now I must impress them. Now I'm working now. I'm chopping the trees. And you must remember, I was super fit at the time. The eggs was nothing. So we chopped the trees, we put them on the van. So we went out. As we went out, the first spot that I see, it's written Velvedacht. I think it was 38 kilometers or something, or 40, I don't remember. Oh, Velvedacht. Oh, okay. It says Dinukana. Oh, okay. When you go, the port says Mukhopani Mutwedi. Oh, I see Mutwedi. This is Mutwedi. That's where we came from. That's where we went to that thing. Okay, fine. Then they say they want to drop me. Say, you can catch taxi. I said, no, we can go home and I will help you. And then from there I will come. Yeah, no, we are okay. No, I said we can go. So when he got there, I checked and then I see this Rasta guy who's very smart and quiet. And I call him and say, Muna, I'm not going to town. I don't know where I'm going. Mina, I'm a soldier. Mina. I want Tiro's place. Yeah, you want Tiro's place? I know this Bugana now. Yeah. Oh no, we'll show you. You want to go to Tiro's place? No, we'll show you. Oh, okay, fine. No, yeah. Then when we're supposed to go to Tiro's place, I said, hi, I'm not going there. I will park here. I will park here with you. See, so and then in the evening, and then I started to keep lying, say no, I'm not alone. I'm with some guys, but they don't want to come out because we don't trust you. And I said, no, I mean, I'm from this fellow is from Midwa family, and we are part of the royalty here. So when you are with us, we are protected and stuff like that. This one knows how it's going to. Oh, okay, fine. So no, so I want to go back there. You want to go back there? Yeah, I want to go back. No, but today we are not going. Yeah, you're not going today. No, I must go back. No, we are going today. We'll go back tomorrow. Now I'm worried about Kumbulan because Kumbulan, I know he will withdraw. If I don't come back, he will withdraw. I said no. So I spoke to him nicely. Then I had some money. I gave him some money. I think it's 100 grand or something because I took some money to the logistics. They took me. Then when I got to the base, Kumbulan, everything was well packed. He was waiting for just to be dark, and then they will scuttle. So then he said, hey, Muna, are you sure you trust those guys? No, those guys are okay, Kumbulan. No, man, no. So the following day they came, I went with Kumbulan, then we slept. Then we started that engagement. Then I said to them, I want you guys to transport me. I want to know all this area. They transport me. From that area to Ramatlawama using, what is that area? I forgot, Matasi, passing Matasi. And we drove until Grot Mariko. You know, Grot Mariko is just towards, where do you go? Is it Volmarans? Is it Volmarans? What is it? I don't know that area. But you are going now to deep inside South Africa. All those villages and the borders, the Ramotswas and stuff like that, they showed me all those places. And now I'm with Kumlan, so you know this place like in and out. So they are now our guys. We're confident with them now. So then that's when we were called to Harare. Already we had this arrangement with them. I came back, came with a week, and then something happened. I was recalled because I only stayed about 3 days in South Africa. I was in Dobsonville, 3 days, went back. And then after some time, then when we were training, I came back with Comrade Kumlani. Comrade Kumlani, and now you must understand, myself, I'm teaching, so Comrade Kumlani is Kumlani. When you come into the country, I don't know, Kumlani's younger brother, because of when we arrived, Kumlani's father had a house in Meadowlands. And the Kumlan said, no, that house is safe, you can go. I said, Kumlan, you can't go to a place. He said, no, my mom is not there. My mom is in somewhere. My dad is not there. It's my brother Piggy who's staying there. So he doesn't know anything. We can go there. I said, I'm taking chances. Let's go. So his brother asked us, what is your name? Kumlan said, he's Fanta. And how? He's Fanta. So also when I'm Fanta, we are Sprite. And then we introduced ourselves like that. But then, because of other comrades, like Comrade David, Comrade Sadi, they know us as chapters, Kumlan, they kept those names. So, but I said, Kumlan, man, no names, man, no, man, you can't call me Fanta, man. This is obvious. Then I started to be a Tabo because of I can't call myself Kachafta. Because Chafta is the name. I was teaching in Botswana, in Harare I was Chafta, in the country I was Tabo. So I had so many names. Now, and then with Kumlani, we did what we were supposed to do. I don't remember what was the mission. We went back. And when we went back, and then, remember Comrade Lloyd is arrested by that time. Then Comrade Scab called me and said, Yemuna, we can't have the army which is leaderless. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, now I agree. Yeah, no, you are right. So I have been doing a lot of thinking. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to be the general commander. No, man, Pascal, why me? Not me, man. No. There are so many people. Harrison has been there before in the bushes and all. He says it's not about the bush. No, it's not about the bush. There are so many things that I do. So I want you to be the general commander. Hey, yeah, Pascal. Hey, okay. Yeah, we're in Harare. Yeah, okay, fine. I agreed. Then I went into a meeting myself, Pascal. I don't know whether Comrade Pitso and Comrade were there in that meeting that night after I was told that I'm going to be the general. And then he also gave me a leeway to decide who will I work with. And I said to him, no, Pascal, you know, I've been working well with Kumlani, and I'll be happy to have Kumlani as my deputy. And all other portfolios, it's neither here nor there. Anybody, all these comrades are capable. But then it was myself as the head, as the commander general, Kumlani as the deputy, and we retained Mzwamatota as the intelligence, even though he was not there. He was not in Harare at the time, but he was intelligence, and Harrison as the deputy logistics, Neville as the head of logistics. Who else? I don't remember military affairs committee. I forgot it. So yeah. So, but it is interesting to know that my military affairs committee consisted of very young comrades, but very brave and committed comrades. Very brave and committed comrades. And now I'm in charge now. I say to Neville, Neville, we changed the program now. We're not going to train people for 6 weeks. People, when they come from Kaya here, from home, coming here in Harare, they can't stay 6 weeks. It's 2 weeks. And we discussed that with Pascal. We can do this in 2 weeks. And indeed, most of the comrades who came to Harare, it is 2 weeks, others 3 weeks at most. Train them and then they go back home. And we had this thing of 2 years, we're training the trainers now. The program that we're giving out to comrades was not just a crash course. It was so intense to a point that we're enabling comrades or empowering them so that when they get home, they can even train other comrades. That's the problem. You must remember, it is that during of the time of the talks now. I can't remember 91, 92, 93, but it was during that time. So we have to move with speed. And you must remember, I've got also big boots to fill. You must remember it was Comrade Somani, now it's Comrade Lloyd, now it's me now. And they've set the standards. So I must keep the standards as high as possible. And but the good thing, I had Comrade willing. During the time of Comrade Lloyd, General Lloyd as the General Commander, the very same comrades of the Dukana Bochaman, they identified the target for us, the police station. We did not identify that target. They identified the target. They called me and Kumla. We went and see the target. And yeah, all is history because of the target I can talk about. So we went there with my unit and then we destroyed it. But unfortunately, they were, we were not anticipating to have our weapons discharged, to fire weapons, because of then we will raise alarm. But because of the circumstances and the situation beyond our control, we ended up opening fire there. And in AZANLA, all the weapons, you were not allowed to put your weapon on automatic, no. Single fire, single on what do you call it? Is it singles? Yes, singles. We're not allowed to put it on automatic because we did not have the ammunition. So after that, then we went back to the mountain. That, like Comrade Azania said, General Biya said, our bases were fluid. When we have done something, we move. We went back into Botswana now, but not very far, so that we make sure that the situation is now calm, so that we can move to another project. So when we were training people, then it was that thing. But then I came into the count. When I came into the count now, I'm coming for the third time. Basically, from 1990 to 1993, I think I've been to the count about 8 or 9 times. So I got Mbulelo. I'm leaving comrades there. And there was a program that was going on there. I'm leaving comrades. When I got to Comrade Mbulelo's place, I told him that I want to go to Eastern Cape. Oh, okay, Eastern Cape. I don't know which car I used. I think I used ACA's car. I'm not too sure. Because of Comrade Tab was also our focal point when we got into the country. But I went. Comrade MacGyver, they organized me the driver's license. I had a driver's license. So I drove to Eastern Cape. I got to New Brighton. New Brighton, and I figure I'm feeling in the place, I don't know, those gang, they called Gratini. I met Comrade Fana Mialeni, is it Fanele Mialeni, and the Comrade, is it Eds, I think, if I'm not too sure. And then they introduced me to Benj Kosana and other comrades, and we had a meeting at Marawell, and introduced a program to them, what must be done. And I told them that now I'm the head of the army and they must do programs, blah, 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 blah. And they will utilize the comrades while we exile, stuff like that, to a treat. But then when when we were in Harare, there was this facility of course. There was this scholarship. There's this comrades that we call and then will collect us. Will connect us. So there was Comrade Lekao Moya in Limpopo, but in the Eastern Cape, I know there was Comrade, I forgot the comrade in Islanda. I said, I want to see this comrade, but I already told Comrade Ketye. Comrade Philip Pelem. Thank you, Chata. Comrade Philip Pelem. Comrade Ketye directed me to Comrade Philip Pelem's place. So, but I can't tell this comrade I want to go to Comrade Philip Pelem's place. But I trusted Comrade Fanel. I said, Comrade Fanel, come here. I want to go to Islanda. How do I go to Islanda? No, he showed me the way. That will pass Grahamstown, blah, blah, things like that. Then Mbulelo gave me all the direction. I don't know how I got to Mbulelo's place, but I also know that when I got to Comrade Philip Pelem's place, I don't know how, because there were no phones. I did not phone him, but I went there, the direction, I reached his place. When he came back from work at Telecom, he found me there. Hey, no, the tower doesn't know me. But when I introduced myself, he got excited. The tower, oh yeah, tower, hey, yeah. Now you're here, yeah, tower, now what? You're going to fight them. Hey, oh, relax, tower. No, I want to check this area, tower. I want to check this area. Well, I know that there's a contact and I must utilize it. So, and you must understand, there was no warning order for that operation there. The warning order is the is the instructions coming from the political leadership to execute an operational order of a particular event, to execute something, and we must draft an operational order. There was no warning order for me to go to East London. But you see, sometimes when you're Makurubas, you take advantage. You see? So I said, I'm moving there. And I went. So I saw I went to, is it Unit 5? I saw a nice place there to train people. And I said to myself, why do we have to strike and take people to Harare when we can train people here? Taking into consideration that I trained inside the camp, I said, no, this place is nice. I will report when I go back. Went back. When I went back, came back again to Mbulelo Ketye. Mbulelo Ketye. I must get some people that must do an operation now. There's a project that must be done, okay? Then I went, got comrades, give them the comrades. I already have the warning orders of the targets that must be done. So we must draft the operational order. I went to Comrades Mouse, who took me to a place called Motse. It's in Tanalti. Tanalti, that's where I met the other comrades. I was not satisfied with the people that I saw to say, at least they can't carry this operation. Then went to Eastern Transvaal first. Eastern Transvaal, North, went to Seshego. Seshego, I got to Thabo Munchani's house, and then Thabo told me, oh no, there's another tower who's here. Who's the tower? He said, no, you'll see him. Let's go. We go to the church. Comrade Cheres Church. I don't know what is Anglican or what. Oh, it's Cobra. Yeah, no, this is the fellow I'm looking for. Come here, I'm looking for you. Yeah, hey, what? Come. We must assemble a team. There is this thing that must be done. Oh, okay, yeah. We have identified the project. So those are the projects that were carried under my leadership. They went with the team. They did whatever they did. They reported the matter. I was satisfied with the matter. To a month later, because that's where I learned that corporate is no more. Oh, okay, fine. But in Eastern Cape, in that short space of time, I think there was an operation that was carried in, is it Terego? Is it Terego flats by the comrades there? It is in Newtonage. There was also a petrol station in Newtonage. There was also an easy gas. A plant in Eastern Cape. I'm saying these are the operations that took place under me at the helm of the army. So there were also operations in the Free State and operations in the North, and they also started moving in and establishing bases inside the country because of now the negotiations were moving at a very fast pace, and we also had to establish ourselves in every province, so to speak. So I went back now to Harare. Before that, I was recalled in Harare when the comrades were arrested in the mountains. Now, the first instruction that I got was that whatever happens, I must not get arrested in Botswana. I must just find a way. You know, this thing of the security of this country, that it was tight, it is exaggerated, madam. There was no security in this country. There was no security at all. I know for a fact, you know, because of I couldn't use the normal route. I spoke to MacGyver, I say, MacGyver, I'm recalled. MacGyver is Comrade Tete. I must go to her. Tete said, no, there's another way. Which way, Tete? No, I can organize your papers. Yeah, if you think you can make it, I can organize your papers. Yeah, organize me the passport. And I still have incidentally that passport here in the house. Organize me the passport, use Bay Bridge, go to Harare. Nothing. Soldiers and police are roaming around the border gate. Nobody's asking me questions. And I have proven it that there's no security. When the Secretary for Internal Affairs flew from Harare to Transmart Airport and get inside the country, and then we were told that there was no security. The security was so lax, to a point that even when we were in the mountains there, sometimes we buy food in South Africa. So, and I don't know, those who are saying, hey, this country is guarded every square inch, I guess because of maybe they've left the country long time ago, in the 50s and 60s, so they still feel that the security is like that. It was laxed. But then that's not beside the point. So I went to Harare through the passport. with using a passport. Then I was told that the comrades are arrested, blah, 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 things like that. And we must lie low now. Okay, we must lie low. Okay, fine. But then Braskap told me, said, hey, we are going home. Me and you. Well, we are Braskap, we are going home. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. And at that time, when they say we are going home, we were using, in the mountains, they were using cars that were kept by Tati. And even in getting ammunition, arms and ammunition, we were using Tati with his contacts. So there was a van that I was using there. And I did not report in Botswana. I was so tired to a point that one day, now this I'm saying is for the first time, nobody knows. I don't even think that the commander-in-chief knows this. There was a van, a packet, Toyota Hilux, a new one. I was tired. I think I drove for about 2 days without rest because of now we were looking for new places. I could say, the camps in Botswana. Now I was so tired to a point that I couldn't drive anymore. But where we were, we can't stay. We must get out. So I said, never. I'm going to drive this car. I'm going to engage all the gears, and I'm going to jump. You jump and come this side, and you sit. You drive this car. I want to sleep. I didn't sleep for 10 minutes. The next thing I hear the bike is rolling. I can't tell what happened. When I wake up, it's rolling. Guru. I wake up, the bike is upside down. Hey, let's jump on. We gave somebody a lift at the back there with the bicycle. The bicycle is that side. That fellow is dying there. Hey, so jump off and say, hey, devil. He said, let us have that fellow. I said, leave that fellow. Let us turn this bike upside down before the other way around, before the oil comes to the pistons and stuff like that. So we are two, Biya and devil. We turn the bike, stand by side, then on its wheels again. So we left it there. So I said, let's go and have that fellow. We have the fellow. The fellow has his neck, I think he fell on his neck. So we stretching, it was nice. The bicycle was still okay. We said, all right, all right. So I started the bike, it starts, but it's taking out smoke. I think oil has got into the piston and stuff like that. So big smoke. So I drove it to Gaborone. So the windscreen is flat like this. I'm sitting like this there under that bike. We got to tell Tati, I capsized with the vehicle. I said it's me. I can't say it's never because of Tati will murder me. If I can tell him that. So I said, no, I capsized with the vehicle. He said, what happened? I said, I don't know. But I think I got sleepy and then we capsized in the gravel part. I said, okay, fine. Okay, we packed the vehicle. So that's the only time I'm telling Braskap that I have capsized with the bike because you are going back and you want to use the car. So there's a buggy, there's a Cressida. And then the Cressida, also it hit a cow, when Comrade Eugene was driving. So meaning that you don't have cars. So he must know that you don't have cars. Man, you must walk now. So or use public transport. Okay, we came. When we came to the country, I think it was May 1993, because that was the last operation. And we wanted to plan something very big for the 16th of June. Very big, very big. So we came. And because of, I've undermined the rules of camouflage to a point that I took that area as enough street. It was just open for me. We slept. I said to Braskap, no, let's sleep. We'll go tomorrow morning to Lobats. Now Braskap is taking instructions from me because of I know the terrain. I said, okay, fine, we sleep. So when we go, around past 5, 6 o'clock now, the sun is here. He said to me, Braskap, no, I never no, it's Sunday, I know the terrain. There's no activity Sunday, blah, 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 things like that. So let's go. Because of, you see, I've undermined what we were taught, that not to undermine the rules of camouflage. I'm having a rucksack, so with explosives there and grenades. So we are taking them home because other grenades that are at the school, which that school that Museka was staying, I left something there. So when we get out of the bush, we saw a car passing. Little did you know that that car, it's a soldier inside that car. It's going to the base. But it was unusual, that car, because of Sunday, there's no car. There's no cars that are coming. So we walk. I said to Braskap, let us get out of the bush. He said, no, Muna, let's walk inside the bush. I said, no, Braskap. Walking in the bush, you are going to take 2 hours, but when you walk here, you are going to take an hour. You know that the bush is slowing us down. He said, you won't get arrested. Now, I regretted it. When we were going up towards Khopane, we could hear the sounds of the Caspers coming. I said, hey, Braskap, this is the Casper coming. Let's go back into the bush. Go back into the bush, and then we check, and it's true, it's Casper, 2 of them that are going up. I said, this has never happened. In all the time that I've spent in these mountains, I've never seen Caspers on a Sunday going up. Let's cage this back. I said, yeah, let's cage it. So I go into, it's what do you call it? It's a colbert. Yeah, the colbert. I go into colbert, take out the sand there, put those back, and then I close with those things and then put the trees, stuff like that, so to camouflage it. So we go. I count the gates so that I know exactly which colbert. When we are going up, now, because when they were coming, that place is steep like this, so we were able to take cover in the bush. But when we were going up, they were coming like this, so they see us from afar. We can't take cover. They see us. There, those Caspers are coming back. Now, we walk, and we are just about maybe 3 km to Khopane. Now, when the Casper stops, we can tell by the change downs that this guy is changing to lower gears. This guy is stopping. I said to Braskap, let's go. I said, we can't run. I said, hey, Braskap, let's go. And I want to go, but hey, they always say, don't do that. Sky gates are true. I know, I take instructions. They stop, they came here, they call us. Hey, what do you want? Then I approach them. No, it's Murake. So the person was having many cows in that area. He's called Pula Madibucho. I don't even know him. But Jamani gave me the background. No, yeah, it's a Pula Madibucho. Yeah, oh, okay. But serious, but no, among they phone the base. They phone the base, that fellow who saw us comes. I remember that fellow doesn't have a hand. Yeah, so he says, yeah, these are the guys. They took us into the Casp, took us to the base. Now that base I was seeing from afar with the binoculars, I'm right inside it now. Yeah, you see this base, yeah, now we are in travel, we're in shit. We're in travel. They say, where's the rucksack? They want the rucksack. I said, I don't know the rucksack. Those guys, have you been hit with an R4 part here? That fellow was hitting me the ribs with an R4 part. Yeah, Braskap, they were choking with the R4 part like this. I said, yeah, I then confessed. I said, no, I caged them somewhere. They said, let's go. And we went there. So I got to the colbert and they were so excited. Now, because of, they were so excited to a point of forgetting that they don't have to touch those things. They were touching this. Hey, so they're touching those things. So they're killing our fingerprints on the metal. So we're fine. So when I go to the track, they take us to Vervedacht police station. Well, I did not notice. So it's him who made me notice. So no, there's no evidence of those things that they are ours. They've tampered with the fingerprints, so we don't know those things. So there are no fingerprints of ours there. We don't know those things. So we are starting our defense now with Braskap. Yeah? Oh, okay, Braskap, yeah. So then they asked us, then there's a guy came. I don't forget this fellow, man. Captain Dube. He says, when he comes, he said, Dula Fast Mashiban. He's a young fellow. He's calling us Dula Fast Mashiban and I'm with Braskap. I say, okay, fine. Braskap. He's telling Braskap that, no, you guys are arrested for 1, 2, 3, and blah, blah. And in fact, there have been operations in this area, in Citrus Farm, the police station. There's been movement this side. And we don't understand that. And we know that there were people in the mountains there, but we could not. So they charged us with all those things. So we got arrested. Now, at that time, you must understand the training camps have already started in the country. There are many of us in the country. Mfano Mdala is in the country, like Comrade Ketye have said. Comrade Neville is in the country. Comrade Dokop is in the country. Well, I did not mention the shooting when they got arrested, but they got shot. He got shot on his hand. So he's in the country. Comrade Neville is in the country. So many of them. And Comrade Neville is in the north. So Comrade Mfano Mdala is in KZN. And there were so many activities that were happening in the country. We just wanted to add to those activities and do something big that will try to shake the processes or the process of the negotiations. So when you got arrested, when we were in Veverak, the first appearance, now I don't know, the first person that I saw in the gallery when I turned my back, it was Comrade Museka. To say how did he know that we are appearing and whatever, we don't know. But already in the Sowetan, there's a story by Comrade Matata that we are somewhere in Lihu roots, but nobody knew exactly where we were. We were arrested. So okay, fine. And then they took us to Mafikeng prison. When you are in Mafikeng prison, that's where we discussed with Raskap to say, Ebona, you see, we are here. I'm here. There's no point of these operations that we have sanctions to go on, because of then the army has got no leader, then it will be chaos. And none of these people have a direct contact with Harare. So even if they do, but it will pose a serious danger and a serious risk for them, for themselves, those of us who are inside the country. So we must find a way to tell them to cease the operations. Before you can even transmit the information, the Donkeru cave comrades got arrested. They were also arrested. Fine. So we stayed there. I want to apply for bail. Comrades Cap said, no, don't apply for bail. But I said, you said there's no evidence. I said, yeah, don't apply for bail. These guys, they are still agitated now, and they are on the high. Let us not do anything. So I think it was Comrade Morolo who came, because of, I know Comrade Kabelo was in Botswana. Comrade Morolo came, and then he consulted with us. Then he told us that the comrades are aware that we are arrested, things like that. Then he'll bring us an advocate. So then somewhere along the line, the security of Botswana picked up that we want to escape. Then they moved us from Mafikeng prison to Rooigrond prison. Now, Rooigrond prison had no facilities for awaiting trial prisoners. It was only prisoners, and they were only awaiting trial. Oh, and there's some other guys. I think we found 2 guys from Soweto who were arrested for robbery. So who were deemed to be dangerous. So when we got there, Raskap said, this is not facility for awaiting trials. This is the facility for convicted prisoners. So we can't stay with prisoners here. We can't. No, we can't do that. We want to go back there. Then they had to phone the head of correctional services to come and speak to us. Then that fellow guaranteed us, no, we as the institution will provide you with newspapers every day and fruits every day, and they will allow visitors on weekends, because we don't allow visitors during the week because of security arrangement here. So, but all what we're supposed to get, we will provide. So, and here it's better than Mafikeng. There's no lot of people, and we can have time and do whatever. So eventually we agreed. So they locked us next to gallows, next to the gallows, to the hangpan. So, hey, I think when we were here there, 2 or 3 people were hanged, because when they are going to hang somebody, there's pastor that will pass, then there's a bell, boom, boom, my God, at Rooigrond. Somebody's gone. The other thing about Raskap, this thing is going to traumatize us. We must move from here. So, but eventually, Advocate Timche got us bail, using the technicalities that were there for us. And then, yeah, so we got bail. And then when we got bail, then we got arrested again and got bail again. So on our way out, we were driven by Comrade Mbulelo. Somewhere along the way, we stopped him, said, "No, oh, stop here, comrade." Said, "Ngosi, bye-bye, hamba, so he did not know. Hey, comrade, you tell us where you're going. No, you can go. We left back to the bush. Our source into the country. Ended up in Port Elizabeth because there was a base that was operational there, and we just wanted to see it for ourselves. So yeah, we came back. But so many things in the operations, with the involvement of Comrade Tete, the involvement of Comrade Aroni, of Germany, the arrested in what called Goodfontein in Benoni after our release, and the arrest of the group of Boma Trijana and Bomangani and stuff like that. And you remember Mangani, I took Mangani to the mountain to go and train because of he was not comfortable with the arrangement where he was staying. I think it was at Peace Donor's place, I don't know, or at Comrade Lagun's place. So I had to take him to this thing to the mountain and come back. But yeah, they, like I said, they were also in Pretoria. There were lots of attacks that took place, and the AZANLA was starting to escalate its activities in attacks and the training of comrades. Remember, I said we ended up embarking on the trainer program and shortening the period of training to 2 weeks, blah blah, things like that. Yeah, and until I came back in exile in 1994 October. I don't know whether I gave you.
No. Thanks. I think. I think you've covered, to some detail, and I think people listening really appreciated the story of AZANLA as enunciated. And I think it was a great story to listen to, and we allowed you a bit of time to really take us into some level of detail that's acceptable, about the AZANLA story. But there are just two things that before we close off, that I want us to touch. And the first one, I think, is the arrest of General Biya. The 57 days of hunger strike. How did you survive that? If you could just unmute and tell us a little bit about that, maybe for 2 minutes.
May I propose that we deal with that matter when we deal with the other phase now, because we have, this was AZANLA, we have the NBA when we engage on that discussion, because we've been here for more than 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just, that's what I'm saying, 2 minutes.
Okay.
Just that, and then we close.
When they said, when the judge said 13 years, it felt very, I counted very long. And I was very clear, standing in the dock, that I'm not going for that 13 years. I remember turning to Advocate Ishmael Siminya, saying, I will see you in December. And he says, no, my George, they said 13 years, not, I said, no, I will see you in December. And Kabelo Siabi was there. And they say, hey, this tower is in danger. Apparently, he's losing his marbles with this 13-year thing. Then I went, they even tried to cushion the impact of the 13 years by bringing me some KFC and nicety, which I did not eat, unfortunately. I lost even appetite. I just wanted a way out. They took me back to Royal Front. In Royal Front, I started plotting and planning how to escape. trying to draw the pieces of prison. And when they came with a strip search, they got my pieces of this thing. And, hey, we are planning. Then I said, okay, now I need to find another way. Another way, it was now to say, hey, let me engage these guys. I found the guys of the Botswana Defense Force coup, who attempted to coup Mandela, that group. So they were pushing only. When I engaged with them, I found them politically workable, and I convinced quite a number of them that we need to look at the option of getting out. And one of the ways it may be a hunger strike, and we all agreed. On the 1st of October, Rilera Wakampa, that's how it was called, Riku Wakampa. And one just believed, you know, this thing of staying for 13 years was being wasted. And one had to agitate the others, because when we started, we were a big number. I had convinced quite their number, but others were dropping by the wayside. What I think also rescued us when we approached, as the days were rising, they took us to hospital. And in hospital, one had hope, not only hope. Actually, I raised it with this comrade who keeps disappearing here.
Yeah.
But I still had the energy to escape. And I asked him to bring the doctor with him, so that I had studied the ward. And, there were also sisters that now I had established some relations. And well, he went and he comes back and says, no, you can't escape. I say, no, man, I know how to, these guys, when do they sleep and stuff like that. I have the times and everything. I must escape. Comes an advisor against, and they come an instruction from Harare that, you know, I must stop this hunger strike. And then I say, no, I'm facing the 13 year and these walls here that are very hostile. And then comes in Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Hey, guys, we're negotiating. I tell him, hey, look, go back to the comfort of your home. I don't want to hear about those stories. I want to be out of here. And I don't have the energy. He leaves, and then what was boosting my morals, those nurses working there, tells me about, hey, you guys, your hunger strike, it's quite a topical thing, and we are seeing people are talking about it, organizations are talking about it, and we are seeing some graffiti on the roads that released George Biya, what. And that was a moral boost, and I felt like, yeah, no, the amount of support that was there was also inspirational enough for one to hang on. But hey, the 13 years was just something else. When you counted, it was just too heavy.
So it helped. No, the last thing, General Hlasa, that I wanted to check with you, when the decision was taken that we're stopping operations, we're going back, and you know, the major congress 1994 between AZAPO and the BCMA, and now you were handed over as AZANLA to AZAPO. And how did you react to that? My understanding if I recall very well, at that Congress at Shaft 17, you then handed over yourselves to AZAPO officially, and you, what do you call it? The salute of acceptance or something like that. What do you call it?
Yeah. Thank you, Comrade Ashe. I think it is important. You must understand that the BCMA collapsed into AZAPO, or there was a merger of AZAPO and the BCMA. And Comrade Manyana made a speech of handing over the BCMA assets to AZAPO. Now, these assets included AZANLA. And we had prepared ourselves because we knew that there's going to be a Congress and AZANLA is going to be handed over to AZAPO as part of the assets. So we prepared ourselves, and we had a drill, and we performed a Java Salim, which is a salute that normally the military does when it accepts its political authority, or it's the government of the day as the authority, and we did exactly that, and we performed that at Sharp 17 after the speech, and we are, well, as the commander, participating in the drill, and I performed that salute to hand over the military to the government, to the political leadership of the day, which at the time it is now AZAPO. So it was officially done.
Officially done. Your allegiance to AZAPO.
Yeah, everyone, militarily speaking, it was done. Anybody who will be contesting that is a person who has never been there, who was not there. So at least I'm saying this when I'm still alive, that it was done. AZANLA was headed over to AZAPO. And the Comrade Bagena is still alive, he can attest to that. That AZANLA was handed over to AZAPO.
All right. No, I think that's where we will leave it at for today. It's been a long day, but I think it has been, we allow this time, to share this story, and it's been quite a mouthful to listen to, and I believe people appreciate it and enjoyed what they heard today. We leave it at that, and we shall meet each other again next week, next Sunday, where we will be attempting another topic. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And thanks to the generals for sharing their stories this afternoon. Thank you.